Getting late, but let us not talk falsely now. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us. My apologies for being late. D, take it away and tell people who's allowed to be here.
Well, go on, everybody. This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You have to be 21 and over to be here. If not, gotta get the flying flock out. Back to you, Fumador.
Perfect timing. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the man. It is on the caption for the show right now is me doing this to my nose, so that's great. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Hopefully, we'll get Flora here. He may have forgotten, so I may have to. I'll text him here in a second. Perhaps he's like busy with work or something. We are a couple minutes late, so that could be part of it. Let's see here. Uh, Hopefully, he's like, "Oh shit, I was having lunch." Whatever.
Oh yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let me see, did I pop out the chat yet? I absolutely did not pop out the chat. Am I on the right account? I sure am. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The show is for adults only. It's for entertainment and educational purposes only, as the man said. Oh, he's like, yeah, let me take a break. He forgot. He'll be here in a second. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please join us. Hey, Stone Rude, long time no see, buddy. He says, "Hey guys, Stone Root, been a while, buddy. How you been? Growing anything good?" So, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to say hello to us. Join me in switching to live chat. Obviously, you're free to do whatever you want, but I like to switch to live chat from top chat. It's a less filtered chatting experience. Among other things, also lately, some of our longtime regulars have been getting shadow banned. I don't know. YouTube doesn't like them for some reason, and it wasn't anything I did, I promise you. And it seems to be the only way to see them is actually to switch to live chat. So heartily recommend switching to live chat. There's no reason to be in fucking YouTube's bullshit top chat. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I don't even know why they do it that way, but whatever. You know, these social media companies, they always have to mess with good things. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be chatting with fucker, you're not allowed to chew on that. He keeps grabbing my dog keeps grabbing my papers and chewing on them like they are the most amazing toy in the history of the fucking world. Okay, good that I got this one not totally on it. Look, I literally have to hide them. I literally have to hide these fucking things because for some reason he's not a really destructive dog, but he just fucking loves these. Oh my God, he's gone through like five or six of them easily. Oh my fucking God, it's ridiculous. I just bought a box of them, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, and I'm half empty now. Here's a new one that I'm keeping in my pocket for safekeeping so he won't fucking eat it. Little fucker. Where did you get this one? Whatever. Anyway, he says it's been a busy day of life. My kid's actually taking a decent nap today. Oh, right on, dude. Or dad life. Right on, Stone Root. Good to see you. Skunks in the house as well. Good to see you, buddy. Not too many folks in the chat yet, so we'll slowly ramp up probably. Looks like we're going to be chatting with Flora Nugs here in a little bit. He's going to take a break, which makes me think that maybe he won't be able to talk for the whole hour. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We've talked to him before, so ladies and gentlemen, it's not like we don't know anything he's going to say or something. So we should have a good chat with him, however long he can take. I figured today was about as good a day as any, honestly, for me to smoke the last nice joint, really, because this is the top nog. I mean, there's gonna be another joint, don't worry, because there's a couple of little nodes that I didn't take off just now. It looks like warmed over dog shit right now, but basically it's because the dried leaves and stuff are on here. I think this is technically Morgana version 5 is what it's gonna be. Oh, and there's a dog hair on there, of course. You guys have no idea how much dog hair I have now in my life. And you can tell it's my dog because it's all, you probably can't see that. That's too small for you to see, but it's all like squiggly. He's one of those squiggly dog hair dogs. Anyway, so it sticks to stuff extra well. So if you didn't think that dog hair was sticky enough, you had another thing coming. Anyway, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, this is the original Cuvée 2, the original mother to Morgana, crossed to that Coot Special that I liked. And I've had a chance to grow a few of these myself over the last, actually, it's been, goodness gracious, it's been almost a year. Um, Lovely weed. It's like most of the Coot Special ones, it's predominantly this kind of lemon hinted pine sol or lemon tinged pine sol. It's definitely got the lemon pine to the whole profile, but the Coot Specials always tend to be a little bit towards the lemon, a little bit towards the. Even when people report to me like what was it, kumquat or something, it was literally like a sour kumquat or something. Anyway, it's very much tinges to that lemony side, but you get a lot of pine. It's actually a very refreshing aroma. And this one, I had a kind of a chocolatey lemon one. It was smaller than this one. This was actually a nice yielding plant. The chocolate lemon one was maybe about two-thirds the size of this one. This one has a little, it's almost like sangria. It's kind of like a tropical wine. It's kind of a fun profile. I wouldn't say it's an actual sangria because there's a strain called sangria that really tastes like fucking sangria, but it really reminds me of that. It's this lemony, because the Morgana whole line that I've had basically tends towards the berries in the wine, basically. So tends towards the, because, original grandmother, the mother of the cuvee, one of yeah, the mother of the cuvee, original mother of the cuvee, because I technically had the cuvee F2, was Pinot, which, as you can imagine, tastes like fucking wine, right? Tastes like red wine. Anyway, what was I going to say? The entire line, basically, all the lines, even the Black Soma Morgana, which was crossed to the Coot Special. What else? The Sour Morgana. All of them basically have. Well, the Sour Morgana tends to that kind of cherry line, I guess you could say. But again, berries or wine. This one definitely has this kind of tropical. Maybe it's not even a sangria exactly. Maybe it's oh my gosh, what's it called? It's that why can't I think of it right now? Not Prosecco because that's yellow. The pink bubbly wine. What is that one called? Do you remember, D?
No, I don't.
Why
Sorry.
can't I think of the name of that one? It reminds me of that, actually. Okay, what is that shit called right now? Pink bubbly wine. Motherfucker. Pink bubbly bubbly? The fuck's it called? Moscato. There we go. Moscato. I think this kind of reminds me of Moscato. So anyway, I haven't released it yet, ladies and gentlemen, but I think I'm going to release this. I was thinking about releasing maybe about five or six of the Jack the Ripper lines. I have a little bit more than I guess I could release, but I'm debating what to do with those. And so I think basically I have pretty good idea on several, like the Pine Sol JTR, the Super Boof JTR, what else? This Cuvée JTR, et cetera, et cetera. Like I've had a pretty good experience with these. So anyway, super, super frosty. I guess you guys can't see. Super, super poorly trimmed, of course. Come on. There we go. But nice fat nug. The nice thing that the Cuvée really gave to it actually is the structure. You wouldn't think of it at first, maybe. But the Cuvée has consistently given a really, really frosty nug to all of its progeny, and it's given, oh, here comes North Star, a really frosty nug to all of its progeny, and it's given a really nice, I disagree a little bit with, we can all agree to disagree, right? Bingus likes that Christmas tree style. I'm not really a fan of that Christmas tree style exactly, but I do like, I've said, kind of a medium stack. You know what I mean? I like things, basically, I want to be able to break my nugs off, basically, and not have to worry that much about trimming until I finally get to the nugs. Um, but I don't want them too tightly spaced and I don't want them too loosely spaced. The Cuvée really, it's like the freaking Three Bears or something. It's just right porridge. Gave a really good structure to these Coot Special crosses that do sometimes tend to the stretchy. And this one definitely wasn't overly stretchy at all. So anyway, liked it a lot. Cheers, folks in the chat, by the way. Ty Sticks in the garden. Good to see you, buddy. Stone Root still hanging. Mark Rish is hanging. What's up, Mark Rish? And of course, J5's giving us the peace sign. Good to see him, J5. Welcome, ladies and gerbils. Joel is slowly setting up his shenanigans over there.
I don't know. I'm trying to get start video. Won't let me turn the video on.
That's annoying. We're going to be chatting with Florinugs too, by the way, so you'll have an extra special treat today.
Speaking of, speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil. What do you
Let
calling
me jump
Florinugs
out
the
and try
devil?
jumping back in here.
Foosball is the devil.
Yo,
Yo, Flora, what's going on, buddy? Welcome. Oh, I
trying
should
to get
press
out of
record.
this trying to get out of this fucking intersection here. It sucks.
So, by the way,
I
I
drive
just pressed
somewhere.
record, and my lamp keeps falling down here. This is so freaking annoying. I forgot to fix this yesterday. Ladies and gerbils, we're with Flora Nugs, who is currently driving safely, but is driving, and we're going to be chatting with him for a little bit, as long a time as he has, of course. Like life gets in the way. Oh, North Star is trying to come back again, so we'll let him back. What's going on, what's going on, Flora? Getting all confused. What's going on, Flora?
I'm trying to think of a spot that I can go and like park like a park.
Right on. And no worries. Drive safely. We can say hello to North Star and stuff. There he is.
Yeah.
We can say hey to North Star here.
I saw it. I'll
Should
go
I
down to the
remove your
marina.
other
That'll work.
profile? No, I'm worried if I remove you. No, I'm just going to put you in the waiting room. No, then that will be annoying. I was going to leave it
What's
there.
that?
Fuck it. Oh, he's got like a second profile. You can't see. It doesn't matter. North Star, what's going on? Welcome.
Nah, not much. I've been actually trying to get on the past couple weeks. It's been just been busy.
Oh,
I
right
was
on.
literally just about to hit the enter last week. I was getting on here and I had a freaking call for somebody needed emergency service work, so I had to
Uh,
run out real quick,
that's
help somebody
annoying.
out. But
Yeah, what can you do?
that's the way it
Uh,
goes.
yeah, by the way, I forgot to say hello to D. What's going on, D?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, chat? What's going on, panel? Hope everyone's having a great day. Thanks for tuning in and coming to get safe with us for the next half an hour. I hope everyone's having a great day. Just programming a little thing here. I'm probably won't be able to chat much in the chat, so I'll say hello to everybody now. My keyboard's really screwing up, so
Gotcha.
hello everybody.
Anything easy to fix, or what's
I
wrong
don't
with
know.
it? Do
I'm
you know?
not gonna.
Pardon?
You gotta chill out on the porn sites, at night.
That's right. He's got keyloggers for his keyloggers. So we'll let Flora kind of relaxingly drive somewhere. I mean, we can chat with Flora in the meantime. How's your? We talked a couple weeks ago. How's your couple weeks been? I don't know. Any progress on finding houses and stuff? It's a fucking nightmare market these days.
No, not quite yet.
Hmm.
Got a living spot, but it's not the house. I'm gonna have to, yeah, basically, I need to make a little bit more money to get
Hmm.
what I want, but so I'm gonna wait I'll wait a
Jesus,
little bit. I gotta pay
welcome,
off
welcome
like,
to the world, right? This is ridiculous. The amount of
well, I just
what is it in San Francisco? I think they say the average house now is $1.2 million.
well, they said when I get to like
Average
car
home, rather.
like 8 car payments or something,
Huh.
then I'll qualify for more because I guess
Interesting.
I owe so much on just fucking car. I bought 2 different cars in the last year.
Hmm.
That kind of fucked me up a little bit.
Well, do you at
A
least
lot of
like that
houses came
car?
on the market in the past 2 weeks up here in Sonoma County. There's been quite a few new things popping up, actually,
Oh,
surprisingly.
seriously? Huh?
Well, yeah, it was
Reasonably
really tight
priced
for
or
a
what?
while, prices, but we had a little bit more inventory now, so
Uh,
kind of interesting.
it's a weird time in the market, right? Because people don't really know if it's going to go up or down. It seems like structurally all the prices should
Yes,
continue to go
today.
up, even with building costs and everything else are going to rise. So
Yeah.
that means that current inventory, which is not obviously going to increase, is going to rise. But at the same time, the economy seems to be in a weakening cycle, in a recession, basically. So that would normally have a downward pressure. The Fed kept their rates steady, so I guess that's
Yeah.
news. I don't know. It's not necessarily any kind of news, but it's news. But it means that the rates will at least stay steady for at least probably a few more months, at least, and maybe 6 months or a year, honestly. Anyway, it's a weird fucking time in the market. I was saying, well, actually, I don't think they live here. One of the houses down the street, they've been trying to sell it. They've actually been trying to sell it for a good couple of months now, and they've lowered the price
Mhm.
already, a couple $20,000. I would say they're pricing it at the absolute top of the fucking market because it's not super well remodeled, but they're trying to charge $595 for it. Now, granted, they have an amazing yard and it's a fucking cool house and whatever else. I think it actually only has 2 bathrooms, so it doesn't even have 3 bathrooms. So like for $595, that place would have to have granite countertops and fucking, hardwood everywhere, but it's got like a carpet half the place and the countertops are actually kind of still chipped melamine. I saw in the picture. Like you can see the pictures that are chipped in the pictures. So I'm
Yeah, but
like,
that's what you see
are
in
these
like
people
this
on
area.
crack a
It's
little
like,
bit? I don't know. I don't think they're serious about that price, but
I don't know. You see trash stuff is complete trash for like that kind of price in this area.
yeah. You know what it is too? A lot of times the owners are unreasonable. And kind of like when you buy and sell stuff on Craigslist, for example. I guess I don't very much anymore, but I used to. And people sometimes they started to get way more unreasonable as time goes on.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I got this
hated that.
paper clip for $25, that kind of shit. I don't know what my dog's
I tell you
barking
what,
at
I
now.
was
I
a realtor on the East Coast for several years, and quite frankly, sometimes if you want to get the listing, just to have, because you're like, fuck, this person's not going to sell their house, whatever. They might even know it too. They'll
Let me go
list with
check
you
what my
like, I
dog's
want my
barking
price.
about.
I'm like, all right, well, you want 9, I can get you 7 for it. But they'll insist they want to have 9. I'm like, all right, I'll take it just to get the listing, so I get another sign out there with my name on it. People might call me about it and say, well, I know this is out of your price range, but I can show you something just like it for 7. So you have to steer somebody someplace else. But so you get people like that that'll list their property at a high number, even against advice of it's not going to sell that high. They don't care. They figure somebody's going to buy it. And as a realtor, you're like, all right, well, if that's what you want, that's what you want. I'll go ahead and list it at that, but don't be upset when it doesn't sell.
I always thought it was they did the cost and appraisal and cost of analysis based on what was around it and doing a kind property.
Well, that's what the realtor does, but the homeowner might just have in their mind that
what the homeowner
their
thinks.
friend so and so next neighborhood over
No,
got
bottom
X, and they
line.
want that too.
No, fuck what
And
the
that's
homeowner
the way it
thinks.
is.
Bottom line is property is only worth what you can sell it for.
Well, as a realtor,
doesn't matter what you think it's worth.
and what you do is you actually have somebody that likes it a lot but not willing to pay that. And say, well, what is your best offer then? And you bring them that low ball offer of $720, and the guy's like, oh my god. I'm like, well, that's what this kind of property is going for, sir. I'm sorry, that's what it is. Do you want to negotiate with this? You want to take your house off the market? If not settle until you get 9. I mean, you might have to come back in 3 years to check it out.
Yeah, I guess it depends also where you're at. Here it's like
Yeah.
a seller's market, so people are paying more for stuff than what it actually appraises for.
Oh yeah.
But,
You start
depending
outbidding
on where
shit.
you are in the country, that drastically changes. It's just, there's and it's also some people probably hear this and they hear like 500,000, 600,000 for a house. Holy shit, that must be some big mansion. No.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's literally a
West
fucking
West
room
Coast,
in
that's
some
a little,
places. It's
a little,
idiotic as fuck. Yeah. Like I
that's
was saying in
fucking,
San Francisco, like literally an apartment is like $800,000. So the average
watch what the
home, I
median
meant to
house
say, is
price out in
1.2
my area is
million.
850.
Wow. Yeah. By the way, I couldn't make this shit up if I wanted to. Literally just now, my dog was
Ridiculous.
barking because the guy that knocked on the door, a fucking dipshit realtor, basically. This guy basically has been trying to, the previous owner that sold it to me, he's been trying to poach the house from this fucking guy. He's obviously a scumbag. Like, I met this guy a couple of times. He's literally tried to come to my house and ask if the previous owner was still here. He's like, oh, is that your grandfather? Da, da, da. I'm like, I own the house now. Fuck off.
fuck
Like
off.
I literally told him like 2 or 3. I think he's come by 3 times. I shit you not. And he came by today. I was like, I was kind of rude to him. I was like, can you please take me off your list? I'm busy right now. Right. The old previous owner doesn't fucking live here anymore. You know what I mean? I'm like, what else do I say to this fucking guy? Don't poach my house
Man,
from me, bro. Fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, fucking some realtors
The
are
average
just
person had the house
scumbags.
for at least 7 years. Come back in 7 years and ask me.
100%. Yeah. Come back when I ask you, you fuckface.
Exactly.
In the meantime, what was I going to say? The realtors that I talked to, and then my eventual realtor, told me that a lot of owners can be very unreasonable about a lot of different things. They get very emotionally attached to the house, especially if it was their house or their parents' house, whatever. If they grew up there, God help us all, because then they were, I had my first kiss by that tree in the backyard, and so they think it's worth, just like people on Craigslist, they think their fucking dumpster find is a Fabergé egg, basically, right?
Yeah.
And so that's my assumption for the neighbor down the street. Of course, who knows, right? Maybe it's owned by a realtor, and the realtor's like, nah, fuck it, we'll see what we can get. But I bet you anything, it's the owner who won't be flexible. And there was this one house in Portland I really fucking wanted, and right off 92nd or something, right next to the fucking St. John's Creek. I mean, it was just fucking excellent. Like the house was super cool. It was this old craftsman house from like 1920 something or other.
I love
The
Craftsman.
foundation was good. Oh, it was excellent, dude. You would have fucking
Yeah.
loved this house. No stained glass, but lead work windows all over the place. And I take that back. I think there was one little stained glass window. Doesn't matter. There's a bunch of lead work window, including inside the house. Like this house was the shit. Also, really high ceilings. I love high ceilings. It was like literally 9 or 10 foot ceilings. It was really,
That's
really
awesome.
high, with awesome wood cove work. Anyway, the lady that owned it was overpricing the fucking place because it needed a bunch of work, da 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 da. And I would have been happy to do it. I really enjoyed it. She wouldn't fucking budge. And my realtor basically talked to her realtor, and her realtor was like, no, this was her grandfather's house, but her grandfather raised her as a father, and she partially grew up here, and her grandfather passed away. And I was talking to my realtor. I was like, "Oh, this house looks like it was really well kept until about 5 or 6 years ago, because you could see like stuff recently had started to fall apart, but it was obviously like a Hank Hill run house." Sure enough, Grandpa was like basically Hank Hill incarnate. Essentially, he probably sold propane accessories, and when he passed away, the daughter has disabilities because she was a little bit older as well. And wouldn't you know it, the house is fucking going to shit. But it's still on the market. It's still on the market. I bought this house how many months ago? That fucking place is still on the market. Like if she would have just budged, I shit you not, I only wanted her to budge like 20 grand. and she would not budge 20 grand. And now she's paid that much, probably, well, maybe not quite that much, but she's going to pay that much in utilities, property taxes, you name it, by the time she's done, you know? It's too bad.
Huh.
That's that other side, you know, where people are just being fucking weirdos, but then everybody's really just trying to afford a house, you know? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Not cheap though. I guess
No, it sure
I guess
isn't.
there's certain parts of the country I guess it's still cheap, like
That's what I
Michigan.
hear. Yeah, I've heard Michigan is somewhat reasonable. I mean, there's definitely a few places in like what, Oklahoma. You always hear about people buying huge
Yeah,
houses
but
for
that's
two
just
hundred
not
thousand dollars. But you got to live in Oklahoma. I don't mean
it's
to
not
talk shit about
somewhere.
anything, but I'm not. It's not my favorite idea of places. I know that it's not a terrible place and everything, but you know, I don't
Yeah,
really
but
want to go there.
they have like this
Tornadoes and shit,
extreme like
Yeah.
super
weather.
heat, and they have
Well,
mosquitoes like
extreme
motherfuckers.
locusts or
Yeah,
grasshoppers and shit and all that kind of
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Not my
You
first
know,
choice.
looking to where you move. I gotta start by looking for a climate that I like.
Yeah. That's the
Yeah, that's
thing.
the
I
Air
think
thing.
and
it's
It has
more
to
it's more
be.
that
that. It's not even really because I'm like, you know what? Texas is cool. It's got a cool texture, culture and stuff, and Oklahoma has all the native culture and stuff. So I'm like, it's probably not at all what I think it is. I think it's just the climate really that I don't want to move to, you know?
yeah.
That's really what it is. And then I justify everything else basically. Like, well, I guess I don't think that way about Miami, but I also wouldn't want to move to Miami because it would just be too fucking hot. Like I would just melt basically. D would be happy because D's always like, oh, well, actually, Miami wouldn't be hot enough for D. D would also, you would love to move to Las Vegas. That's where you got to move to, or
He
Area
likes
51 or
hot
something. D.
weather and he's from Canada.
Yeah, yeah. This is one of the ironies of life.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yep. I need to go live in a desert.
That's it.
This
You
is
should
Yeah.
do it. D. Are there any Canadian deserts? I don't think there are.
I think
no.
Oh yeah. China has a huge desert. In fact, China's Gobi Desert, I think, is the biggest desert. What's up, hardcore? Long time no see. We're still waiting for Florinugs to pull over so we can have
I've been
a.
looking for a parking spot for 90 fucking minutes, it feels like, and I
Is it
can't.
that bad? Well, God, we know that Seattle, Washington area is terrible. Portland is miserable for parking.
It's
Anyways,
just, it's like every time I saw one, it was like the guy pulls out like right behind me. I'm gonna go, but I can't go backwards because it's one way.
do you ever have those circumstances where people pull in right in front of you? You have to fucking decide if you're gonna flip them off or not. Like,
About
motherfucker, I know you
about five
did.
minutes ago, yeah.
Some people I just don't even know.
I don't
Well, I
feel
guess we'll just
entitled. And
we can
then
just have a chill discussion. Go ahead, Flora.
they see the Cali plates, and then a lot of times they're assholes.
Oh yeah, 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 100%. Especially in Washington, they're gonna be like this fucking guy.
Yeah, they're always assholes. They're like, whenever I
Mhm.
go, like, put my blinker on, they want to like close the gap before I can fucking get over. They're going hella slow, and like, what is wrong with these people?
Mhm.
Yeah, they definitely don't know how to get on the highway here or merge. Like they definitely drive in a different style. Like
It
it's like
reminds me.
their energy level is like on like 2, and like LA is like all like 10, right?
Oh, it
Lack of
is.
I
It's
got
sun.
used to
difficult to
10.
adjust to the different driving styles around the country sometimes. They're so very different. So I was just thinking about, I used to go to California all the time. And mind you, for example, I'm wearing this California Bear shirt because I was like, well, it's actually General Hydro, but it's the California Bear because I was like, oh, I was born in California. Sometimes I wear this shirt just for fun. Um, so like I've been to California a million times. I've lived in Los Angeles a lot of different times, on and on and on. So like I'm familiar with Los Angeles driving,
A
but I have
million
Oregon
times.
plates. What's that, hardcore?
A million times.
Easily a billion, maybe even trillions. So anyway, I'm familiar with the driving, but basically I have Oregon plates on my car, and I've always had Oregon plates, except for one
Wow,
time I got
that's
rear-ended and
fun.
I had a rental car, and that was the only time I had a fucking California plates down there. Anyway, when I first started going down there, people treated me like I had special needs. It was the weirdest thing, and it was just because I had Oregon plates, and they probably thought, oh, he's not from here, and they would, just
Special.
very gently let me in and give me all kinds of space. It was really kind of funny. But I
There
actually
were so
really
many
like
clips
LA
in that last
drivers.
two
Was that
minutes.
hardcore?
There were so many clips that people could take out of context in the last 3 minutes that you're talking.
um, Oh, we had a lot of great. That's what she said potentials last night that we missed. When who was it? When Bingus was talking, I think. Anyway, what was I talking about? I actually really like LA drivers, which is a weird statement to make, but I think Flora might be one of the people that understands this. Like they are nuts, but they're predictably nuts, and they are
Yeah,
surprisingly kind in their nutsidness, like
it's like
nutsiness.
You can get over 10 lanes if you need to
100%. Yeah, they'll
somehow.
wave you through, and there's literally a few freeways that have 10 lanes. And so
Yeah,
you'll
but
California has these fucking left lane merges and off ramps. It's madness. It's just psychopathy. So you have to do all kinds of crazy shit. Like I remember one time I was in San Francisco. Speaking of San Francisco, I got on the freeway and I had to cross 10 lanes and I had to get another freeway and then cross another fucking 10 lanes. Don't ask me where I was going, but it was ridiculous. And you just have to cross this fucking track. But people know that you have to do it, so they just let you through. They're just like, yeah, 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 yeah. And they might pass you on the way. They'll do some crazy reckless thing, but they've done it a million times, so they're actually doing it safely. Like if you actually kind of what is it, Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance, if you kind of fucking let yourself go and float like a leaf on the wind, like from Firefly, you'll actually do great in LA traffic. But if you like white knuckle, oh, you're gonna get in trouble. It's honestly
I'm
kind of funny.
watching this idiot that's trying to parallel park right behind where I
Oh
parked.
my God, a surprising number of people don't know, especially a surprising number of men, which is always surprising to me. I don't know why I keep saying surprising, but I'm surprised that people can't parallel park. It's one of the first things you're supposed to learn in driver school or
It's
It
not one
driver's
of the
wasn't. It
things
manual.
in the
wasn't. It
driver's
wasn't
test
one.
right now anymore.
Was the first thing I learned that, and
It's not,
you know,
Really
first
it's not only driving test anymore in California.
we had
interesting.
to.
That
What's the reason for that?
I learned that shit in the sandbox.
I don't know. My youngest daughter just got her license about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and yeah, she didn't need to parallel park or nothing. So
So
pretty.
how do they know she can actually drive like on the road? Not
They
gonna
have
like.
they have a driving test. Well, they just drive around, but
I
they
mean,
don't
where
make
do
any
they expect her
parallel
to
park
park? Just
anymore.
in garages or not park ever, or they haven't thought about that part?
They don't even ask her to pull into a parking spot for a count.
That's
They're
fascinating.
worried. They're more consistent if you're using your signals, changing
That's
lanes,
fair.
stopping proper distances, keeping distance from cars. I mean, his guy's a big checklist of stuff that he checks off, and yeah.
Huh.
That's fair. Well, I guess that explains why so many people can't freaking park though. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I go to a parking garage like in Portland, people park sideways and back. I mean, Jesus.
No, they used to
Uh
have like they had the cones when I did it back in the day, and set up the cones, and you had to parallel park between
yeah,
the
yeah,
cones.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Uh,
I mean,
but that
even,
was
even I think the test here, there's an area that has like three spots.
30
It says
years ago.
10 drivers test here where they pull into a parking spot. My daughter pulls in and she's kind of crooked. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm the most crooked I've ever parked before." And I walk up to the car and the guy's in the car and she's like, "I'm so crooked." He goes, "Oh, I don't care. We don't judge that. We don't grade that." I'm like, "You don't grade pulling into a parking spot?" Like,
I'm honestly
I make her
surprised. I don't
back
know what
out
to
and
say
straighten up
about it.
on it.
Yeah.
If that was me, I was like, "You straighten this
I'm
thing
just
up a
like
little bit."
everybody, like when you have a car, you have to park. Like, what is this, speed or some shit? You know what I mean? Like, come on, you have to fucking park the car at some point, at least to go
You
to a
can't park
station
your
or
car
something.
here.
So how do you not get that
This was a
evaluated? I'm
sidewalk.
puzzled. I don't know. I guess maybe they think that people have it down, but I know from experience people don't have it down, honestly. Uh, wow. I had a friend years ago, none of her ex-boyfriends had known how to park. None of them. And it's not like she was a big whore or something, but she had several ex-boyfriends and none of them could know
Like,
how to park. Like none of them. She would get out and park the car for them when they would go somewhere. Can you believe it? I don't know. That seems, if nothing else, it seems emasculating. I know that's kind of a primitive way to
it's
look
like
at it,
I
but
was
she had a
I was
dozen
just taking down
help it
Christmas.
on
ex-boyfriends. None
some
of them
level. You're
could
like,
park.
okay, you don't want to be a fucking chauvinist, but at the same time, like, dude, I need to know how to park my fucking car. Like, I'm not gonna make my
I was just
girlfriend get out
taking
and fucking
down.
park it for me.
I was just
That's
taking
it.
down Christmas lights yesterday, and I had a like a genie lift, like a boom lift or whatever on the
Okay.
trailer, and the homeowner guy has a Hummer, like one of them H2s or whatever the hell it is,
Oh.
and I had to cram in that tiny little. You think it'd be made for stuff for like big people, but
If
I'm only
douchebag was a
six
flavor
one,
of
and
car.
I could not. It was like to get in there and try to contort myself around is to look back and shit. I think kind of sucked.
Christmas lights. It's
Yeah,
this
he
Saturday
tried a
there.
couple times and it was like, okay, just hop out.
Yeah, and
Great.
the worst part is that those H2s, they basically essentially fill up an entire parking space. So if you actually don't know what you're doing, you're always over the edge. And so sure enough, most of them don't know what they're doing and they're always over like a couple spaces, whatever. Yeah. Not a fan of those cars, honestly. Plus,
Oh,
they
I
get
did.
what, gallons per mile, basically. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I think it is literally like 3 miles to the gallon,
Thought
something
that
like
came
that.
with a gas station.
Yeah, 100%. Comes with stock and shell, something like that. Cheers,
Oh
fine to
my god,
keepers.
in
Good
this
to see you,
place.
buddy. What's that, Flora?
Oh, I'm walking by um the Norwegian bakery, so I think I might go in there and buy something.
What is it? Well, that sounds amazing. Yeah, what do they have?
Good stuff. Hang on.
I can't think of Norwegian pastries right now. I guess I can think of sweet. What's probably the same thing as Swedish.
Same, yeah, they got Swedish too. Let's see
Huh.
here.
Boys.
That's right. Do they have a smorgas? Excuse me, sir. I'm here for your greatest smorgasbord.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in there. We can look.
What the fuck?
I don't
You
know. I
can't
don't know
park
what
your
he's
car
listening
here.
to. Oh, I think he's just goofing off.
Something like that.
All right, Flora Nugs might have lost video. We'll see. We'll see if we can get any Norwegian pastries.
It's the sidewalk.
Try to turn
Yeah,
off the blur if you can.
line.
That's right, hardcore.
I'll come back. It's like a line.
Oh, that's annoying when there's a big old fucking line.
Pretty.
Well, at least you know that it's nice.
Yeah, I'll come back. Oh,
I drive a
they're the
car,
best.
finding keepers.
Those
Before
guys are
That's
the
right.
best, but I don't want to wait in a line right now. But I will go back.
I don't blame you.
They also have yeah.
I was just trying to think. I was like, oh, I love pancakes. Are Swedish pancakes my favorite kind? I was like, no, but I really like them a lot. But I don't
What's the
think I have
difference
a
between
favorite kind
Swedish
of
and
pancake, actually. What's that?
what makes a Swedish pancake Swedish?
I think honestly, they're basically the same thing as a crepe, essentially. In
Oh,
fact, I
they're
looked up the mix. It's a pretty simple mix, and then you end up serving them with loganberries and butter. It's almost the same thing as a crepe. I mean, they make them in a little bit. If you get Swedish fucking crepe or pancake pan, it is a little bit different shape, but it's effectively the same. I think that. Oh no,
Well, crepes are awesome too. It's nothing.
I was just gonna think. Do they use a different? No, they just use butter. It's the same thing as a crepe. I think they just use butter to fry it.
The town like 7 miles over from here used to be the home of the world's largest lefse.
And you're saying that like we all know what it is. I certainly know what a lefse is. My
have
favorite
no idea.
lefse was Smorgas Gustafsson. He was great at it. No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know, it was like a 10-foot big lefse or something that they made for fucking.
So you're
What
you're
is it?
you're using words that we don't understand to define
It's
things that we
basically
don't
like a
understand.
Norwegian
So the
tortilla.
lefse was a lebza. Okay, it was a huge tortilla. Gotcha.
No, lefse.
Lefse.
It's like a Norwegian tortilla, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do they put Norwegian carne asada in it?
See, I'm actually. Yeah.
Reindeer.
I don't even know what the. I'm guessing fish or something.
Apparently, reindeer is really good.
A lot of their food is really smelly.
Some of the best restaurants in the world actually are Scandinavian. It's really puzzling.
Surskruskaman or something like that.
I don't know. You can
Sir
buy that here.
Stroman,
This is like a little,
Sir
Stroman,
Stroman,
yeah.
is that what you're talking about?
it's like a
Yeah.
little Norwegian town.
Fermented,
So all that here.
Sir Stroman is fermented herring, I think. Fermented herring.
We've got a lutefisk packing place here where they boil that
Lutefisk
shit
is
in
the
lye.
live fish, right?
No, it's just they boil it in lye and it's like gelatinous.
That's it. Yeah, the live fish. That one I can't stand, actually. Sir Stroming I've had before. I'm sure I'm pronouncing it terribly. But when you eat it the way you're supposed to eat it, like without popping the can on YouTube to make fucking faces
Yeah,
because it
that's all
genuinely
I see.
smells terrible, but you basically mix it with some onions and stuff, it actually tastes good. Like it's not horrible. But I wouldn't take a spoon of it, and it's not my favorite food. I'll just be frank with that. But the lutefisk, no thanks. I really am not a fan of like gelatins and stuff. Bah, can't stand them. Another one that's disgusting as fuck is hackerl. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that one wrong too. I'm sure this is a prank, honestly, because I can't imagine that anybody would eat this on purpose. It's fermented shark meat that's been buried in the ground, basically. And if you ever eaten shark,
That definitely sounds
it's
Japanese.
incredibly. It's from Iceland. It's incredibly ammonia. It's like ammonia. It's like basically chewing on a fucking soggy, chewy but soggy ammonia-soaked sponge. It's fucking repulsive, and somehow people like actually do it on purpose. I'm sure that it's got to be a dare. Like I basically ate a little piece of it. It was a little piece, and that was enough for my entire lifetime on a dare. No thanks. That was not great.
Ew.
Yeah, that was not spectacular. Which is not to say that shark meat is always bad. I've actually, although sharks famously have a lot of ammonia in their flesh, so you actually have to do a couple things to properly cook it. So, for example, some people actually cook shark in milk, and apparently the milk sucks up the ammonia, I
Alright.
guess. But For
I don't
me,
know if I
it's
want to
like
eat
white.
anything that excretes piss out of its
Yeah,
skin.
Yeah, they
wet.
don't have a what is it? They don't have a liver. No, no, no. They do have a liver because no, they don't have
Mhm.
kidneys. I fucking forget why they have so much ammonia in them, but anyway, they have lots of
Dun,
ammonia in their
dun,
flesh.
dun, dun.
What's that? D?
I was just trying to
Uh,
clean. We're good.
yeah, it's next to it's next right here, right there. People asking me where
I
stuff
didn't know you
is.
were bilingual.
You look like you're in charge, Flora. You should put on a little conductor hat and start directing people places.
Well, it's like this is like a little like Norwegian town. As you can see, like all the
Oh,
flags
that's cool.
around, and
That's fun.
like yeah, I'm like I don't know. I guess I looked the part because it's like I'm probably like fifty
You do
percent
look
that.
vaguely Norwegian, yeah.
Yeah, my mom's Norwegian, but
Oh yeah?
yeah.
That's amusing. And I was just, as soon as I said it, I was like, what makes him look Norwegian? You know why? Is because you look like the guy that bought my dad's old Volvo years ago. I think I've told this story a bunch of times. My dad
I
passed
would
away
probably
and I
buy
had
a
his old
Volvo.
Volvo. He fucking loved Volvo station wagons. And he had a
I
couple
love
of
those.
four doors sedans a few times, but he loved the
Old
station wagons.
240s.
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
awesome. Old
And
240 wagons are
he
dope.
had so many of them when I was a kid. And so he had this orange one and it barely started. And for me, I was like, oh, it's kind of an older car. I didn't know if I really wanted it, honestly. So I was trying to figure out what to do with it. I was literally thinking I was going to have to scrap it. And then I don't know if they still do it, but the not for cash for clunkers. Anyway, you could donate them to like PBS or something. I was thinking about doing that. And then finally I was talking to somebody who's like, oh, just put it on Craigslist. I'm like, oh, genius. You know, like I've gotten rid of so many things over the years on Craigslist. I was like, oh, fuck, I just put it on Craigslist. And I put it on there for like $300 or something because I think it's just garbage. I think it's
Oh
trash.
wow.
And I immediately got an email from somebody who was very nice. He was like, "Take the listing down right away, bro. You're way underselling this car." And so I take the fucking listing down immediately. And I literally in that 5 minutes or something in the meantime that the guy had emailed me and then it'd been on Craigslist, I get like 100 emails from people trying to get this car. So sure enough, he was right. I can't remember now how much I sold it for, but it was like I don't know, a couple $1,000s cash. And the guy that bought it was a Norwegian who travels the world. I don't know if he still does this, but he travels the world with a business partner. Actually, a business partner was from California, lived in California, and the Norwegian guy flies to America every summer with his family just for vacation, and buys Volvos, and they ship them in shipping containers back to Norway. And during the winter,
Like
when he's snowed in, he's a mechanic by trade. When he's snowed in, he just restores and soups up these fucking Volvos and
that's
apparently
funny.
sells
It's
them
like
for big ass fucking money. Because it's like classic American cars when you think about
that's
it. For
funny.
so
We're
for the
going to
Swedes, it's like
America
there's
to
classic
collect
Swedish
all the
cars.
Volvos.
And the reason why he goes to California mostly, I think he said also parts of Texas. Anyway, they travel the country buying these fucking cars, but mostly the West Coast because of the lack of snow, the
Salt.
lack of salt. Yeah, 100%. So there's no
Dalton.
rust on them basically. So for example, he showed me the bottom of my dad's car. It was dirty, but there was no rust whatsoever. Yeah, so funny.
One of them shipping container ships. It costs like $250 million to make one, but on their first voyage from Asia to America, they make like $300 million.
I've heard that. That's one of the reasons why they abandon them all the time because it's so easy to make up the money on a new shipping container, isn't it? Yeah.
I like how they're making houses now out of them.
Crazy.
Mini houses and
With
shit.
some limited success, Flora has some experience with actually growing in shipping containers. That didn't really go well, did it? Right? I mean, not to say that it can't, but
It's not that it didn't go well because of the shipping containers. It didn't go
I
well
was more the
because
business practices. I got
it
you.
was because of the people that
Mm,
invested in a bunch of used equipment for way over what it was worth, and then expected me to use that equipment. And when I told them, "Hey, things are failing," they're telling me, "Well, we don't have the money for this."
huh,
It was problematic.
goodness. Makes you
Well,
really wonder who convinced them to buy a bunch of used equipment for over market value, right?
Yeah,
Lord.
there's a popular guy that convinced them to do that because he was friends with that other company, but it doesn't matter.
Same shit, different
I
day.
have a
Who
20
can't
foot
park your
Connex
car here?
that is a refrit, has a cooler.
It's the
We used it when
sidewalk.
we had the fruit stand, and then when I had it up on my property, I was going to set it up to grow and stuff, but it had limited height,
Yeah.
right? And then by the time I would have had to insulate it because it was on my property, the sun hit the metal. It was good.
Hmm.
You would have to fight that Yeah, I just built the net. I had space in
I'm
the
only
It's
hearing.
basically
building.
like a tin can with no windows. Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess if you
I'm only
had to,
hearing a
you could,
soliloquy right now.
and
Yeah,
they
those.
make them that have the higher ceiling height, but the average one, which that's what I had, yeah, by the time you hung a light or you would have had to have short plants, and it
Oh
might
no,
have been good to
these
veg in.
these ones were like amazing. These ones were like made for shipping across like the ocean, and like they had the high R type, they had the high ceilings. Like they were pretty awesome. It's just the thing was is this was like a recreational grow in like the very first phase of California, and this is trying to figure out where to get water from, and then the city it was like all a bunch of permitting shit, right? Like the city's like, oh well, you have to collect all your runoff. We're like, what? Like I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
hadn't
in
heard of
the
that before. I hadn't heard of that,
well,
right?
like
But that's in
in
hot springs.
LA.
It's like no, you gotta collect 100% of your runoff, and then
Yeah,
you
they
have
call it
to have
black
an
water.
approved. They said you have to have an approved company come and collect it
Yeah,
and dispose
black
of it.
water.
And it was like,
They
damn,
call it water. Yeah.
yeah.
Even
So
at my nephew's place, they consider the collection water from the DUs and the ACs, which is basically just evaporated water. Oh, that
yeah,
that
Yes.
has to be in the black water, which means
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
you pay a company to come haul. You have a tank outside. When it's filled up, they come and they
God.
haul it away
yeah.
as
Well, there was some. They basically they sold it to the reservation, like the reservation, like somebody from reservation, some company would come get it, and that they deal with it. But
and the
it was a
cost
lot.
of those
It was like they had to come over all the time, because this is hydroponics and this is 21 rooms. So it's like,
uh, the popularity of people using the connexes for all kinds of things, building houses and different things. Oh, they're not cheap anymore. But 20 years ago, San Pedro was the port, and you had to pay to have them hauled to you, which
yeah,
it didn't cost that much to get old connexes. Now, oh no, they're a few thousands of dollars,
No,
and
no.
there's a big difference too in quality between the ones. But yeah, that was one of the
yeah,
difficulties though. So like these guys, so they dug this gigantic hole, got this humongous, um,
Is it a
gigantic.
reefer unit?
What? I have no
Dude,
idea.
Mama likes units.
You
That
go
just
look
means
on
if
my
mine was
it's
a
got weed
go
reefer
look on
inside,
my
it's a
unit.
reefer
go look on
unit.
my
Or if
YouTube.
it's got an
I have no
AC on the
idea.
front of it usually, or if it's got
Yeah,
weed inside, I suppose they're both a reefer unit.
I have no idea.
well,
That was
mine was
like
a
years
is it
ago. I don't
I
remember.
still have it, and it's a reefer unit, and
Yours?
it runs on a 3 horsepower. The only thing when I had to replace or have the AC worked on, it's even though it would keep things almost frozen, it was not really a freezer. It was just a
Yeah, that was
cooler.
the other thing. These guys, these
To keep
idiots,
our
Well, that's
they put
pretty
a
sick.
five
I like
ton.
that one.
These
and it
idiots
just
put a
ran.
5 ton AC on every fucking Conex box. I was like, that's way
That one
too
just
much.
looks too much like a box, just too much like a container. Yeah.
And the
It's
whole
great for a
cooling
small little off
the
grid
reef
kind of thing to pop up
Yeah.
real
the
quick.
the
Yeah.
the
Maybe
basic
uses
And
it
they're
from
easy
base,
to
but
refrigeration.
you actually
easy to
build a
insulate
place on
actually. You could
piece
just
of
spray
land.
foam them.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud, we keep talking over you.
Yeah, it ran on a 3/4 horse motor basically. That over the 20 years I had it, and when the cooler would have function, had need work. Oh, I just had to replace that motor, and that motor and the cost of keeping that thing cold was way cheaper than like real air conditioning and stuff. I don't know the mechanism, but it was basically every so many years I'd have to get a new motor because it would burn out.
I'll mute you guys for a second.
But it was seemed like the refridge part of
Oh
it was way
no.
simpler than like AC units, split minis, and all that shit as far as the way it worked.
Nice looking nug.
Nice little bud of vortex.
Oh, fuck yeah.
A little afternoon pick me up.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. North
Well,
Star, what do you think? A lot of your lines are very heady. It
Did you
seems to
guys
me
hear
like
that Trump
most of
got
the
shot again?
Trump got
no.
shot at again. Shut the fuck up. He didn't get shot at the first time. What, today?
Okay, I just made it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, be careful
Let's
making
not
shit
bring
up
that
like
guy
that.
up unless we
Yeah,
have
as I
to be
said, I'm like,
perfectly
oh,
honest.
AI is gonna come get me now.
Yeah. So what was I talking about? Oh, just the what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say the interest of how many people are actually interested in heady crosses. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, because it feels like 90% of the people I'm talking to are really just interested in stony stuff, which surprises me because I think Flora is interested, not all, because you like some stony stuff for sure too, but you're interested in the heady stuff as well. We've talked about it. You definitely are smoking a lot of heady stuff. North Star. Uh, I guess no one else on the panel. What's that, Flora? Oh, he's a robot. No,
Okay.
Nobody.
we're getting a robot. Sorry.
Uh,
He's trying to get some of that Norwegian food, I think.
Robot.
Oh, dang it, I hate when that shit happens. Well, anyway, what do you think, North Star? Are a lot of people interested in the heady crosses or what? I don't know. It feels like the overwhelming
Um,
majority is all stony all the time.
yeah, I think the majority of people are looking for stony, but I think you have a lot of people that are only smoke in the evening after they get home after a long
Right.
day, or it's a weekend thing, and just to take the edge off and chill out.
All right,
Right.
thank you.
Some people smoke, and for an evening pain relief kind of thing, it's more of a
Hmm.
sedative kind of things. You have a huge population of those
I don't know,
people.
Stone.
Hey, Joel,
Doesn't
All right,
it seem
I'm
like
outside
people
again.
are more into the flavor and the terps than the
What
fact
was the
Say
question?
again, bud.
people are more like shop for terps and flavor
I'm not talking about that
than
specifically right now,
effects?
but I was talking about the kind of stony versus heady. It's not the flavor versus not flavor right now. I'm trying
Let's
to talk
describe
about
those
like amnesia
terms.
haze, for example. What's that, bud?
What tell me the difference between stony and heady, like in your
Well, you feel like falling asleep versus you feel like going out and going to a party.
so heady is going to the party and
Mm.
stony is going to sleep. Yeah.
I mean, in this case, yeah. And so, like, I guess, it doesn't
Between
feel this
couch
way for
slop
everybody.
and
100%.
like
That's a
it's the
better way
difference
to
between like
describe it.
being like couch sloppy, stony,
sativa
and
and indica.
paranoid.
Woo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
And I think
there is
some
a
of
there is a
that isn't that
complication to
just
this. Here, let me
like
finish my thought,
your
bud. Let me finish my thought real quick, bud. There is kind of a complication because everybody, literally everybody does have a different endocannabinoid system, and it surprisingly is very different for different people. So for some people, for example, I've discovered this in the last couple of years with a couple of friends. People that have ADHD oftentimes have what you would consider basically a flipped out relationship or flipped around relationship with weed.
Yeah,
So for
I
example,
do.
really heady stuff makes them fall asleep, and really stony stuff actually makes them really like happy and invigorated
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything else.
That's how I am. Like
Well,
with
that ain't right.
Durban, you know, it's a
You
downer
fall
for me.
asleep? Huh.
Yeah.
now I guess I like stony stuff, but I don't like I have a high I smoke all the time. And then what I call heady or is soaring. Like I have this
Mm.
one strain
Yeah, you can
that's
call it
more
soaring, sure.
satively, it's soaring high
We're going to
Hmm.
where
telephone
oh
booth.
that's I get it. I love all weed and I love all
Mm.
highs. But no, on a day to day, I don't like the soaring high. I like
Gotcha.
the more but like
See, I
what
guess that's
would be
basically what I'm talking about, bud. Yeah, I guess with bud,
Exactly.
we always have to pick the right word. What's your favorite soaring high that you've had
Dope.
before?
oh crazy sativas and stuff like that
Mm.
to affect me more soaring. And
And
I
I'm
usually
surprised that you
grow.
say that you don't like to smoke those at shows and stuff, right? Like you wouldn't smoke those and go to the Dead or something?
Well,
Pretty
some
cool.
of it is like I'm a wake and baker, smoke all day long every day, and I like the stuff that like hammers me. But it
Gotcha.
does but I understand the tolerance level because I have friends that don't smoke that much, and then those things are just
No,
too
again,
strong.
but that's not what it's about, honestly. There are some plenty strong sativa strains
I
that'll
don't
knock
know.
your shit out. It has nothing to do with tolerance. I can promise you, plenty of people on
I
this
know.
panel smoke all day long too. It's a difference of the high, and I guess I'm talking about that because there is
Yeah.
a difference in the different kinds of highs. Go ahead, Flora.
I found with a lot of people that aren't, say, everyday tokers, that like it's no longer like flavor because like it doesn't matter what flavor it is anymore. Everything's potent now,
Is
right?
his shit on mute or am I
They
just?
just want something good to smoke at the end of the day that's going to taste good. And most people don't even care about indica or sativa or any of that. I found like it just seems more
Mm.
It's all a
marketing. It
scam
seems like real
brought to
more
you by the.
marketing type shit,
Brought to
like
you by Big
dispensary
Weed.
retail kind of shit. But like in
Government
reality,
shields are
they
here to
just
take
want
your
something that
children away,
tastes good.
folks.
Tell them that tastes good, smokes good. You know, like of course, like us, like we're like a whole different. Well, like what we represent, like not even a 1%, right?
That's probably
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
A tenth
So,
of
The
1%.
so
heavily
when I
nerdy,
like
heavily nerds.
when I
Yeah.
say I want some like Kim D or something, like most people they don't even know clue what that is. Doesn't
Hmm.
mean anything. I'm speaking foreign to them.
Hmm. But it intrigues me too that we can't even really completely, when you notice, we can't even completely agree to what these highs that I'm talking about are. We should actually start talking about this more in the future because we're having these different definitions, and I don't think we're really quite on the
Well,
same
I
page.
think
It's fascinating.
some of that shit is cultural, right? And then also generational. So like heady, right, might have
And
meant something different
everybody's
in the
endo
'70s than it did in the
You get the
'90s.
Eskimo to do it for us.
and everybody's endocannabinoid system is pretty unique. I mean, there's
Oh
some
yeah, definitely.
commonalities, but like, yeah, how something affects me is just, you know, some of the commonalities are there, but then there's they, I realize that because I I like certain things a lot, and other people I know they like other things that I don't like a lot, and it's just everyone's got a different, what where their heads at. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm the type that like I
Some
knew
people
that
smoke
smoking
cookies.
the strong OG first thing in the morning was probably not the way to start the
I
day.
don't know.
Like,
You give. I can take something. I'll take like North Star's Alcatraz OG. I can smoke that in the morning. I'm perfect. I'm ready to go. Let's go do shit.
Hey
but
Joel,
then I
No.
you know
used
who
to
made
keep a
has
little tangy because like that would be something more in the morning that wouldn't hammer me. But like I'm a stupid stoner that like gets hammered first thing in the morning. Sometimes regrets it because then I I'm burnt or don't have the.
Lethal injection. That's the one that's good. I like that one.
But I
But
like
you
that
have
stuff.
actually said, Bud, that you are, how did you describe it? Hyperkinetic, I think you said.
Oh
So
yeah, so like I'm
maybe
HGH.
that, a
Yeah,
doctor friend of mine years ago basically said that all cannabis use, which is something that we always say, is medicinal. All of it is self-attempted. What do they call it? Fuck, I'm high on. I'm enjoying this joint.
I ain't stoned it.
Self-administered weed. What the fuck do you call it? Self-medicating. There we go. So
yeah.
you're self-medicating for your hyperkinesis
And
or whatever
here's
the
like
fuck it's
the
called.
overall experience. Okay, I was in third, fourth, fifth grade, and I took Ritalin. This is basically the Adderall of the '60s, right? Which was a speed, except when I was hyperkinetic, because I remember the doctor questioning me when I
Man, big
would
guy.
go into appointments and my mom, and when they
Could you
took me off of it, it was
Buddy, is
because
that your car?
it
could
started
you
acting as a
That's your car,
speed,
buddy.
right? Right? But but
Oh,
when the first few years, it was a downer, and then in my uneducated thing, oh, it changed my metabolism because with
could,
other substances, oh, I
Man,
have
he's
different
nice.
different reactions to those
upper
than the
third.
average person will say.
From Model
So
T,
that probably
15 feet away.
also is part of cannabis,
so could you move
but
stuff with your mind then when you were telekinetic?
well, no, hyperkinetic. Like I was a hyper kid that would
Yeah, why would you
like
want
I
to
was
stop
hyper.
being telekinetic? That'd be amazing.
And most likely
I'll
as
reach
an
in my
adult,
pocket.
I would
Oh
probably be a
shit.
candidate for Adderall or something because it's like I probably have some mental uh and bipolar, whatever. But no, I use cannabis for all these years as that. Like I just stay stoned and it seems to work pretty good.
Were you on? Did a doctor prescribe you stuff for any of that stuff at one point?
Well, when I was a kid,
Went through it.
right?
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
saying you
from
just,
third,
but you
but
just,
then
but
like
I mean, like
they took
overnight,
me
you
they,
just
they
try
they
to.
took me off of it, and then there was a time in my teens they had me on
Yeah, so
lithium.
what I'm getting at is like, was on Tuesday you were doing it, and then on Wednesday you smoked a joint, and on Thursday you're like, I don't want to do that stuff anymore. I'm just gonna smoke joints. Is that kind of like?
No, like somehow I just didn't like the zombie feeling that any of that psych med stuff like gave me. Like I
Yeah, I dig
even
it.
as a young person, I could tell it was like yeah, it would make you like
I had a few
like
friends who took it as
stupid.
children and they weren't even really the same. Yeah. It's not to
And
say that it's
then
not appropriate for some people. I'm not going to be one of those people, but I had a couple of friends, their personalities changed with Like you say, the
And then
zombification. Yeah.
and then as I became an older teenager, no, I like I remember they would question that I my mom would point out to the doctor I didn't take the medicine. I wouldn't take it, even though I was supposed to take X amount,
Seems to be
whatever.
common because, like, I had a couple of friends growing up
Then
also in
again, look at
school.
Kanye. I mean, if you want a good example of someone who should be taking the meds,
I think you're dead naming him. I
fucking
think he's
Kanye.
just gay now.
Yeah, but I had
Oh,
like,
is he
I
yay?
was
Whatever.
getting at those,
And
like,
the last
seems like a lot of
prescription
people
a
didn't take
I'm
them.
psychiatrist
woke as
gave
fuck,
me,
bitches.
that expensive one my mom paid for, I was taking lithium, and then I had another uh, prescription that was
Lithium was so
Thorazine,
fast.
and on the label it said take one if agitated. And like a Thorazine, they call it the Thorazine shuffle. You want to be a
Mm.
zombie for a few days, take a Thorazine, right? And I was like probably 14, 15 years
They
old.
showed
And
that
then
in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right? The guy's literally just kind of shuffling around the house. That was the pills they took, right?
Thorazine, yeah,
Yeah,
the Thorazine shuffle.
there
And
it is.
and
Yeah,
and
they're just
like
like
I was a teenager,
their arms kind of
and
like a zombies, basically, literally, like they're fucking living
even
zombies.
even then I realized take one when agitated. And like my mom used to say when I was like whatever having fits or whatever, she'd say, "Oh, here, take one of these." And all those pills gave you a thing where you couldn't get rid of the bad breath.
Hmm.
Like you'd
Oh,
wake
that's
up in the morning and be like, "Holy shit, what's that taste?" Like the taste of taking those pills. They were so
like,
fucking nasty.
was it metallic?
Yeah, it was just, and you brush your teeth, and you couldn't get rid of this taste. It was like
Huh.
an aftertaste,
Oh,
Oh,
no.
and
gross.
if you took them every day, that was the whole idea. Oh, that would just be part of it.
Wow.
Hey,
Beyond the
Joel.
fact that as I got older, you learn that all those things damage your liver and like do all these other side effects. I mean, now you see these commercials where they have to list the side effects of everything. Yeah, that's a hard commercial. You pay to have an ad, and then at the end you have to say, yeah, it gives you explosive diarrhea, like all
Seriously.
these symptoms that
They
May
even tell you
cause
a couple
occasional
of them.
death.
like I don't know, but when I see one of those ads, I'm not thinking. When I hear the side effects at the end, I'm like, oh well, fuck, what name is that? I'm not taking
It
that
almost,
shit.
and if you just took all the side effects and just played them back to back, you wouldn't even know which drug it's for because it sounds like they're all the same side effects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they have to list all these things. Now, one, it's
I
great.
know.
It's one in
Excitable goiter.
10,000 or one in a million, but
And
they
it's
still have to
horrible.
list it.
Yeah,
But
Hey,
they're
but
Joel.
horrible things too. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Joel, do you know who made Tasmanian skunk?
Tasmanian skunk. No, I do not.
I think you might be muted.
No, he's not
no,
muted.
I
Yeah,
heard him.
hardcore.
I don't
Fix
know
your
that
fucking
one.
audio, dude. You've been talking about it the whole time. I'm kind of over it. Get out, get back in, or something. Everybody else's audio is fine.
Yeah, it's good. I hear everybody.
Yeah. And I would say, did you put it in Leafly or that site? And that's the basic. I guess if you're searching for some history on something, you start there. Google.
What,
Oh,
what
they
was
are
it? What was
Key
it?
I
Finder
don't
Tasmanian
or
know.
skunk?
something. Or,
I don't know. There's two sites that seem to come up that have like a
Tasmanian
lot of that's,
skunk.
but it's some database you can,
Sounds great.
yeah.
I always forget the cross that he says it is. Uh, Hope he'll hop back in here in a second. Um, Something to Space Queen. I fucking don't remember, to be honest. Sounded great though.
and then in the last few years, because I was hanging out with Trevor, that's Sungrown Mids, and he really loves crossing. What do you
See,
call it?
for example, he
Malawi,
has the so-called soaring highs. Yeah, good
the
example. Yeah.
Malawi. And one time we were driving up to LA, and he's lighting these blunts, and like I'm a stoner, I smoke weed all like I thought I was like OGing on coffee. It like literally was the most raciest. Like the
Mm.
first time in my life, I was like, "Oh no, I don't like that."
Huh.
And even the rest of this without, he gave me some. Oh, I gave it to people.
And you didn't like
Even at
any of the
home.
crosses either. It was just all too racy for you.
Well, I like that experience was enough for me to go, "Oh, Malawi, I'll pass,"
Gotcha. Gotcha.
because
So,
like,
so I have a question on that one because you're talking about a strain, right, with like a long flowering time. So,
yeah,
races usually associated with premature weed. They didn't let it go long enough. So was it racy because he was premature, or was
No,
it
he
No,
grows.
no, no.
He's. I've
strain?
met him. He's a cool guy. He's legit. He has
He's
been.
into
I
it.
don't know what he's working on now, but he was working on those Malawi crosses. Literally an African. A long time ago, the red Congolese was super popular. You probably remember the red Congolese.
Oh yeah.
Malawi is very similar to that red Congolese in
Hey,
I
high,
see.
even in flavor, all of it. It is a
he
different
warned me.
cross, but it is different too. You know, they're not. It's like OG and fucking. Bubba Kush or something. They're different, right? But they're similar. But definitely, if you could remember the red Congolese, I would say that's similar.
He warned me. I remember, like, I forget my response, but it was like this nonchalant, "Oh, dude, I can handle it. Don't worry. Yeah, oh, it's a little racy." Or he, like, when we lit it up, he says, "Yeah, this is Malawi." It's like, and then like half hour later, I was sitting there going, "Dude, you ain't kidding. This is a fucking joke." I'm like, I have an anxiety
Raspberries. They
attack.
taste like strawberries.
Oh
And that's
yeah.
kind of common. That's like, some people embrace that high. Like myself, I like a more like what you're calling stony. I like to be stony. I read
Yeah, I haven't
like
felt that way in like
goofy,
20 years.
stone
So
stupid or something
Hmm.
like, and
Can you hear me
and
now?
a lot of
yep.
what enables that is having different varieties, because even whatever variety you smoke that, only that for a week or two, yeah, like I've long since learned, oh, by switching it up, because like if you smoke the same thing over and over and over again, some of the effects get like muted over time,
Certain
right?
cannabinoids get
You know,
saturated.
Yeah, that's true. You definitely get used to strains. I mean, some people do say that there are strains that they never get. I guess I've heard that many times. Of course, some breeders, that's why they keep stuff. They
There's
never
no
get
ceiling, man.
what's the expression for it? Anyway, they never get
No
blind to
ceiling
those
thing or
Yeah,
whatever.
there's no
No.
ceiling, no ceiling. There you go.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a little skeptical that there is truly no ceiling to anything. I bet you could probably, if you smoked enough of anything, I think you could probably get used to it.
Yeah,
But I
actually,
definitely know that
I
there's
was gonna
stuff
say I
that's a
haven't
lot
found that
stronger
strain
than
yet.
others for sure. That's one of my, when I talk shit about cookies, I should probably always qualify that I think cookies is good weed. I think, the cookies and cream, I think is my favorite cross, probably to this day, of all the kind of cookies genetics, basically. And it's lovely weed,
Woo.
but it's a weed that has a ceiling. Like if I smoke a big fucking blunt of that, I'm not going to get any higher than I did from the decent sized joint. That's basically the bottom line for it for
here's the
me.
thing I
Versus
look at
Trainwreck, for
cookies
example. Oh, fuck, I could get lit on a
like
big old joint of that.
cookies to me was the form cut and thin mint, and nothing that's come out of that is better than that. Meaning, oh, that form cut
See,
Roosevelt
I agree
cookie,
because
that
the
shit was
cookies and cream is
fucking
the forum cut
killer.
to Exotic Mike's Starfighter. Now I forget. Now I fucking forget. Anyway, he basically just made it a better washer, essentially.
That is
That's why I
exotic
like
fighter,
it. Basically, he
maybe.
didn't do fuck all to it. It doesn't mess it up. That's why I like that cross.
I'm
And
actually
like to me, from what I know, I'm not a person who's ever even been in the cookie store, but like you would assume that cookies, flagship strains, Girl Scout cookie, the one we're all talking about, that would be on the shelf at
Dairy
their store
Queen.
all the time. Like, wouldn't that be their flagship product?
Well, they
Right?
don't really grow weed. They contract out to different farms,
Yeah.
and it depends if
And
that
and
farm, and
so
it depends. It just depends if in the area where that store buys from, if that farm has cookies or not. They may or may not have cookies. So some cookie
yeah,
stores will
yeah.
have cookies, and most of them don't.
Most of them
But
don't.
but
So you
but
think
they
there's
but they have
76
they always
stores
have
around the world. Wouldn't you think that,
Mm,
oh,
but
well, cookies,
they always
I'm going
have
to get
about
cookies.
30. Yes, but they always have at least 30 of their strengths on hand at any time.
that's
They
Yeah.
may
all.
not be cookies, but it's like I don't know. It's kind of like saying, well, hey man, you don't have your first album for sale, but you have all your other albums available.
Yeah.
For
I'm
me
trying to find.
personally, yeah, some of
That's
those,
Morrissey. He never sings Brown Eyed Girl. He always sings fucking new shit that nobody cares about veganism and all this weird shit.
and even technically until I got like just now getting rid of, cheetah piss is technically like, oh, it's a cookie strain, but it, like you say, that's a contracted out thing where he named a strain in some deal that somebody else created.
All of it contracted.
So, like, in some ways, I would try to avoid
Because some of the breeders
things
that made stuff for
things
him, they
that
made
are
some
from his
awesome stuff.
business model. Like somehow I just think he's like, yeah, I don't support him. And
But
his,
like,
Joel, do you know who made
his
Tasmanian skunk?
No, I do not. I have no idea.
Okay, it was a subcool one that was
Never heard of
I
it.
forget some I forget the island by Vortex. Um,
Sweet Island Skunk by Vortex, I think you said, right?
something Sweet Island skunk,
You know,
yeah,
I bet
by
you
Vortex.
that I
Well,
bet you that was one of those
Pat
side
was using
projects.
the
Oh, go ahead.
vortex for stuff, so maybe something he made out of
Mm.
Heroes at a Farm. Maybe
Oh, that's
Pat,
plausible.
maybe
Pat used
Pat.
vortex quite a bit for stuff, but other than that, like, but something newer, then it could be just the
I don't know. I'd ask Pat or Odie.
yeah.
It was in the TGA packaging. I think.
Yeah, exactly. But they both bred for him. They were both breeders for TGA.
Yeah.
TGA was
Yeah, because
like
Subcool
a white
himself
label.
basically bred nothing, right?
Yeah,
Like it was all mostly North Star. Honestly, probably 50% of the menu was North Star, and then a bunch of other people, basically, right? And then there were even a couple of one-offs, like Amelia Lavender and her, I don't know, husband or ex-husband bred, what was it, Joshua Tree, I want to say.
yeah. I
There's a
met them.
couple
I met them
things.
at a fucking outside of a dispensary. I was waiting to buy a
Huh,
Skittles cut one day, and
funny.
he's like, "Oh, I bred the Joshua tree," and he started showing me all
Uh,
these pictures on his phone.
right on.
I'm like, "Oh." I didn't know. I was like, "Oh," I just thought he was some other fucking another lunatic. I didn't believe him actually until
The
later
fuck are
on.
you and why are you
Yeah,
talking about weed to
later
me?
on, I like saw like him tagged like on another picture. I was like, oh, I guess that was the guy.
Sorry, this is a Wendy's.
well, I mean, I always remember like from 2009 when they started having the cups, high times cups, and then for a bunch of years, 4 or 5 years, I had a booth at all the ones, and so I was in that scene, and I was more aligned with Swerve and Kelly Connection, but I knew Sub and saw it. Sub was the Turk King before their Turk thing was even a thing.
Yeah, he had
Like
some great flavors.
where there was the rest of the guys were all in like similar lanes, even though there was the SFE crew and there was the Skywalker crew and there was some different kinds. Sub was like he had terps. I remember the first times I smoked, saw, smelled, grew a few. I was like, holy shit! I didn't know weed could smell like this. Like way back, like 15 years ago, longer, right? Where it wasn't like, oh, there was Sub that had the turkey shit, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy. No, it was Sub. Like he was like chasing the terps. Now chasing the terps is a more common thing for sure, right? But he's the king of that shit. He was doing it before anybody was doing it for sure.
Yeah. Chernobyl, that was really tasty.
Like I forget the couple names. A lot of them are the. One time yeah, I told the
I
story.
mean,
Like
like the Jack, yeah. A lot of those were really flavorful.
he used to cold call like 215 dispensaries, and and I ran the grow for the one, and the guy I worked for said, "Oh, hey, come on over. There's this guy because he was had he looks like a deadhead, even though but I'm a deadhead." And then he was trying to talk the store into like carrying. He had his menu, he had whatever strains, and there was like a deal where you pay him a little, you could pay him like he I just remember this because like we weren't interested and my boss was interested. We were trying to say no, but the way he operated as a salesperson, there was no no. Like in the end, he fronted us each, the store and me personally, like 5 packs of like I think it was 6 different kinds on some deal. And yeah, we paid him. We sent them like the money. This is way back. I don't know if it was Cash App, Western Union, a money order, probably a money order. Because
So much easier to get your seeds in the store in 215. You just go there and just
yeah,
talk to them. You want to carry this?
and he just like basically cold called the store. Like that's what vendors would do back then, whether you were a grower or seed, whatever. And a lot of the dispensaries in that area They didn't even carry seeds. Like some carried
No.
clones, uh, but people, but around 2009 is when the American breeders started having to like not have to send their seeds to Amsterdam or some other distributor and be able to have like market themselves. And Sub was on that shit. But like I
Greetings,
just remember
everybody.
like basically a 10-minute, 15-minute ordeal where we were basically saying, yeah, but not at this time or
Yeah,
not
there
now.
was there was
Like,
years though, like
right.
like when he came to Seattle and he would come to Hemp Fest and he was doing his booth. Like they technically, like, I don't think he was supposed to be selling the seeds, but he was selling his seeds.
Well, that whole high times era at the time, technically we weren't supposed to be doing any of that, but somehow, you know, you got to like it was like a gray area for those years. Like I remember the first one in LA. It was 2009. The first like 6 hours, like from 10 in the morning to like 4 in the afternoon, all the people's booths were set up, but no one was selling anything. And then like Swerve and I think TNA, I forget the couple companies. Like later in the afternoon, after like the vibe and like because it was uptight. No one knew what to expect. It was like the first event like that, and the cops and they were or what, and then all of a sudden they started selling stuff, and then everyone started selling stuff, and then on the second day it was on, and then for 4 or 5 years those cups were good. They were like it's a shame that High Times like degraded themselves and lost all credibility, but uh some of those events were really, I remember being at them and couldn't believe that weed had come to this point. I remember one time going to get lunch in at San Bernardino for my guys at my booth. So I had to drive out. And then I was at the corner. The cops were directing traffic and there were people walking across the crosswalk with like plants, teams they bought there. Just walked right past the cop and they were carrying plants that they bought in the event back to their car. I remember this is like 2012 or 13, way back. I remember
Yeah,
that just being this like embedded. I have that memory because I remember
yeah.
going, yeah,
That's what they
geez,
were
like
doing in 2010 in Seattle at Hemp Fest. That's what I'm saying. Like they were selling clones and seeds and shit. Sub
yeah.
wasn't selling clones, but there's other people selling clones. It's
Well,
like
there was some enforcement,
as long as you had a
but
med
not
card.
much.
Yeah, it was just as long as you had a med card, you were fine.
In like
Yeah,
2006, when I was in Fresno, there was fucking a pair of cops came to our apartment, fucking, because they thought we were that someone called on us, but it was our neighbor that was making all the noise. But when he was sitting there inside trying to fucking talk to us, we were passing a bowl around and fucking remember they were both. There was like two of us on the couch on one side of the living room. The cops were in the middle of the living room, and then the other two were on the other side. And fucking, my buddy hit the pipe, and he just kind of just passed it to the cop, and the cop just handed it to the other cop, and he handed it to that guy on the other side of the room.
What?
Like nothing. It had. And I'm sitting there like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then the one cop goes, "Oh, I haven't smelled that one yet. What's that one?"
Yeah.
well, I
Uh,
mean, even at a certain point, like I just remember being, and I was a part of it. I always felt like they gave us an inch and we took a mile because within a couple years, basically every booth was giving away free jabs and
Oh
like
yeah.
like like and we really didn't have it like there were no like today because of legalization they made all these rules. Back then a lot of it was there really it was all uncharted territory. Like and yeah, things were pretty wide open. Like the first couple of years it was people were a little hesitant. They didn't, want to attract trouble and stuff. But then by like you say, a couple years into it, and then it got to where we had gone too far, and then there was starting to be rules and more, and then once it went legal, it just flipped the whole event script. And I, being involved in it, I always thought it was weird. I paid for a booth and all this, and It's basically a swap meet, but you're charging the people like $100 to come in, right? And then you expect them to spend money at booths. You you know what I mean? Like, how much money do you think the average person has? Because like
Yeah.
it wasn't cheap to go in. Like if they had taken
Yeah,
way
it
less
was actually
price,
nutty expensive when you think about it. Yeah, and then
right?
you
And
end up
as a
going and buy all
vendor and
kinds of
had a
stuff.
booth, like yeah, it was all cool people. We enjoyed the party with, but like a lot of people, they were just people. They didn't have all this money. Oh, they
Mm.
wish, God, they would love to have. No, and every once in a while there'd be people that, oh, they took this opportunity. They came there and they bought this and bought that and bought a bunch
Mhm.
of shit. But as a vendor there, you'd be lucky to break even most weekends.
Hmm. And the
Now,
booths
oh,
were crazy expensive. Like I remember the
yeah,
breeders, they were spending, well, Sub's booths were huge. I don't know how much he spent because he was in the enclosed area. That was probably even more. But outdoors, closer to the gate and stuff, those booths were like $8,000 for a weekend.
yeah,
Eight
no, and
thousand, 8,000. How many fucking
and
packs
and
of seeds do you have to break even
And if you
with
didn't
four or
play the
five guys
whole
there?
social game,
Yeah.
which meant kicking them down and all this stuff, oh, you wouldn't have prime. Like the map would come out and you'd be off to the side. Like there was a, you know, it definitely was like. I mean, I don't know. It was corrupted a little.
Hmm.
People that had certain jobs
With
utilized
those
that
prices and
job.
stuff, yeah, it really does sound terrible. It's just like, how could you possibly even break even? And then you do hear the stories about Sub. I don't know if he was bragging or not, but oh,
Well,
he
was
made a
Joel,
hundred thousand at this show and 80,000 at this
was
show.
Joel at these
Oh
Okay,
no,
things?
fine.
there
Well,
were a
Yeah,
few
Joel had
that
times
booths.
that
I
was some of
when
the
remember.
it
first
rocked.
shows. But I
Pardon?
ran the
There
first
were
shows for him in California, and
Huh,
we did pretty good at the shows for sure.
huh,
No numbers like that though, but yeah, we did pretty good.
huh.
I guess
Yeah,
that's where
because certain
Still,
certain seed
there's
guys as early as that, that was like that was the only time like people could have go and just buy them directly from them, right? Even like it, and they had already had like branding or like people knew about them, and then so like even Swerve and Cali Connection, oh man, they rocked some weekend. So that a few people did, and then unless you were like selling weed or doing things that were kind of in the gray area, yeah, it was more. And there was some years that there was it rocked, and then it got to be where it was people
Huh.
came in basically to get freebies and swag bags and free dabs. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I paid 120 to come
mhm.
in,
You
and I'm
know,
trying to get 120's worth of value out of it.
the
And
Kentucky place.
100%, you'd see the people try to get their money's worth. The bags would be full of stuff. Yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you can't blame them. What the
yeah,
fuck?
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, when I went to the San Bernardino Cups, it was like the same thing. It was like there was booths that were selling, they were selling peas, and they was and everything down. But they
I
also had
remember
the
these guys
dabs and
had
they had
giant jars
Hmm.
of flour, and they just
oh
went
yeah, for
for
the
it,
tables.
right? And it was 110 degrees and sunny as fuck, and they yeah, like it wasn't like it
Poor
was the weather was
California.
good to be
Hmm.
opening and closing these giant mason jars with like a pound of weed in it, where they but you could get away with it then. It was like there was no like even though there'd be a couple officers assigned to walk around, they were just to make sure that
But
it was
and
peaceful and shit.
and I went again,
They
like the last one. I think it was like 2017 or something. And
it
San
had changed by
Bernardino,
then.
and there was like there was cops walking around taking photos of people. Um, they weren't doing any enforcement, but they were like taking photos of people. And I think, and everybody was saying, "Oh yeah, if you show up in
And
one
by
of those
like
photos, you're not going to be able to get a rec license." Is what
the
they were saying.
later years, there were certain people that would rent like a quadrant of four booths and put like a three-story thing up. Oh, and then there was a thing with like everybody had their
All right,
music,
guys, I
and
gotta
then
take off. I'm
and
gonna go
Later, North
get some
Star.
shit
We're
done
whoever
around
gonna
here.
had the
follow you out of
loudest
here soon
music.
too. Good to
So
see you.
when
Everybody have
you'd
a good
walk
day.
around,
Thanks for having
Yeah,
me
it
on.
was
yeah, man. Cheers.
Y'all have a good one.
it was just like everybody's music at each other, right? And some of these booths were like somehow they would build these scaffoldings and you go up to the second level. Like there were these like, oh, those people would spend 150 grand for the weekend, like with their whole thing, and they'd hire those girls, 420, whatever miles.
Hmm.
that would just be bikinis
A
and
lot.
stand around and
You're not even kidding. Some of the like advanced nutrients had booths that were like $100,000.
Oh yeah.
The rental itself was probably because they were a little tight-lipped on those top tier booths because also Advanced was like a sponsor and stuff, so you never know exactly what they paid on the thing, but they paid plenty for the location and everything, and then the booth stuff and all the employees, like you say, women in almost no clothing, on and on, and like a lot of them too, like basically one-on-one. They apparently wanted to have a one-on-one relationship with all the potential customers. So if there's 40 or 50 people passing through, they want to have at least 30 or 40 women there in bathing suits. Like, bro,
oh,
how much money is that?
it became like a pissing
Fuck
contest in a
off.
way.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's
crazy.
like
Yeah,
you
they
know,
definitely Advance definitely had that going, and then they were giving out like little bottles of like their whole line at one
Yeah,
use.
yeah, yeah.
Big
When you were
Bud.
driving Volvos, I was licking Volvos.
No, so I
and I
remember.
mean, like during those years, probably one of the because like, dude, he'd be the person that paid and sponsored for the music act to play and
Yeah.
stuff. Like Cali Connection and Swerve. Oh, he would be selling out, dude. Like he had, like, oh, everybody had their little. Oh, there was always lines because he had Adam Ill. He had this whole stick, and he was young, and there was beats. Like I didn't pay attention to that stuff, but I would see like, oh, so and so and his like posse face to face with so and so and his posse, and and talking like they were going to throw down, but it,
Going
like
toe to
next thing you
toe.
know, like oh, they just
You
confronted
know,
each other. It was like
Hmm.
stuff had built up on the forums, and then they'd meet at the event and like have a
Oh yeah.
showdown. You know?
So many almost fights. Yeah, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Come at me,
But
bro.
then I
What's
realized
his
like
name?
stoners
Coma the
like
Grower
might
was
talk big
trying to
and
fuck
shit
with one guy one time. Come at
and
me,
even
bro.
though there was a lot of those then in the recent years, because we've all seen some of the viral clips, like at events, people actually do get
Oh, and
violent.
Ninja and Vader. Oh my God. It never ends.
You know, something that was actually kind of, I was like in the like toward the end of the 215. At least it might have been all through it, but one of the things that was kind of sometimes even more funner than cups was they had these things called sessers, which was basically just like a flea market,
Mm.
right? And you could buy a table for $50 for the
Hmm.
night, and it's like you could sell your product or
Hmm.
donate your product to medical patients because you had that medical card to get in. But
what if
the
you lose
sessers,
the will get your soul?
Hmm.
Mute,
Windy as
my
fuck
friend.
outside.
what's going
Yeah,
on?
those have mostly disappeared up here. That you still hear about them every once in a while, but
The sessers.
yeah, they've diminished. I guess I'll say that. There's not as many of them.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I guess it's just so easy for most people to, pardon?
Does the Oregon medical scene still exist?
It does. I guess I don't know if it's better or worse than California. It does exist, and the card gives you a little bit of protection. It definitely is still worth something. You get a discounted dispensaries, I guess, if people care about that, but it's just really just the tax, essentially. They used to have separate products, so the products, for example, edibles were much stronger for the same price or even lower for medical patients. But yeah, that stuff is gone. Basically, medical patients pretty much only buy rec stuff. They just don't pay the tax on it, which I guess is good because it's like
Yeah, that's
25%
like
fucking tax.
California. Like
Yeah,
California is
basically.
basically
But it's more valuable when you end up having either a personal grow or personal grower, for example, then you can actually have a better situation.
I feel like
can you still designate somebody as your
You can.
caregiver?
Yeah, yeah. In
Yeah.
my case, I designated myself, right? But which always seems weird, right? It seems like crowning yourself king or something. But you can definitely have somebody else. You can be a grower and not consume it. There's all kinds of weird little rules, but blah 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 blah. And they still do allow for some um, exchanges, basically. But whatever, it's not really the market's
Well,
kind of small now.
basically, California, like the first
yeah,
opening
we're going
sentence of Prop 64, that's the recreational part of the law from 7 years ago. The opening words are this Proposition 64 supersedes Proposition 215. And legally, that means like everything that said in Prop 215, which was medical, is superseded by the rec. Like that's like whoever crafted that and allowed that to be like it. one word could have been, Prop 64 is like on top of Prop 215. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
I don't know that
No, because
I
legalese,
think
but
actually that's the
it's kind of
difference
a
now that
it's
I think
competing
about it. The
forces.
the proposition in California was an addendum, I guess. I don't know how am I describing this.
What
Whereas the
proposition? Your
Weed
mom's
Amendment basically
addendum.
became part of the Constitution. We essentially wrote it in as an amendment, so it would have to be repealed, basically. And I guess it would have to be superseded maybe by the federal government, but statewide they actually can't really remove the medical program. I guess they can let it dwindle on the vine, which is always what so often what some
well,
fucking
that's
malicious
definitely what
governments
they
do. But
did.
in Oregon's case, there's no real incentive, I think, for them to do that. So. It
Your
definitely
mom dwindled
has
on my vine
dwindled, but
after I
it's still there.
propositioned her.
Pardon?
Said your mom dwindled on my vine after I propositioned her.
Nice.
Heyo.
Yo mama jokes with three out of the four following words. Go.
She smuggled my addendum.
Nice. Nice. Nicely done. Oh, you guys are lucky. All these guys have these fucking sessions over there because all their states are tiny and close together. You guys are so fucking lucky. California is like 800 miles away. Washington's still 200 fucking, well, it's not 200 miles, but where Flores is about 200 miles. No, yeah, around 200 miles
Yeah, it's
maybe,
about
right?
200 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what do you call it? The Northeast block. Yeah, you can be in different states and be pretty close to a
Mhm.
bunch of other states and cities.
No, it's
Where
infuriating.
here,
Every single one of them is
yeah,
like not more than it seems like half an hour away from each other. Maine and Mass. I'm
yeah.
exaggerating, but still, like Massachusetts is apparently like an hour and a half across the short way. It's long the other way or wide, I guess it would take you.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
talk
know
about
a
these
few
guys like
hours if you
yeah, like
drove from one to the
Massachusetts,
other. Pardon?
Philly, like Massachusetts, Philly, New York,
Yeah, those
Connecticut, all
cities are
those
very
little
close to each
states.
other. Yeah, New York and Philly are like an hour apart from each other, apparently. Even
Like,
Well, I mean,
DC is
it's
like
like
2 hours
for
away,
me to
evidently.
get to the Bay Area, which is where a lot of my friends live, and I used to go up there a lot more than it's 500 miles.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a long, long while. And it's desolate road too. People don't realize they've never been out there. Like tourists, oftentimes they're like they get scared because the road is desolate and it used to be dangerous. Like it used to be actually that there would be signs next gas so and so miles because cars used to break
oh, there
down
still is,
next
so
water. That's true actually from some not
yeah.
everywhere, but like the Grapevine, for example, it's this big mountain pass, basically 75 miles north of Los Angeles ish, something like that. Would you say? Yeah, whatever. Doesn't
Maybe
matter.
Yeah,
that,
North
yeah.
of Los
yeah,
Angeles.
the Grapevine, and that's like
But yeah,
where the
it'll
truckers
say
have
it'll
like
say
a
like
runoff
Cars
next.
because
broke down, and if it broke down, like
it's
in the
so
summertime
steep.
especially, it'd be 120 degrees outside. Like you can die on the side of the
Like
road. So
there's
yeah.
one in when you're leaving 29 Palms going towards I think Arizona. Yeah, Arizona. It's
Hmm.
like no services, 98 miles.
Yeah.
It's straight desert. It's
Yep.
nothing. There's nothing there.
And if you break down, you're in trouble. Yeah.
You're fucked.
Well, I mean,
You're
even
In
lucky
fact,
to
when I
yeah.
was a kid, our car broke down, and we had my stepfather was a complete and total fucking idiot in so many variety of ways. He only had a quarter gallon of water for all of us, so we basically had to wait. Someone actually came along like 2, 3 hours later and fucking rescued us. But yeah,
You can
and
each
most
have a
of the
plenty of
seat.
time
dipshits.
Meanwhile, I'm
from
flipping on Volvos.
You were saving that one. Admit it, you were saving that one for a while.
I didn't even spit it out right.
Well, that's
You were
pretty good.
That's
flipping
what your
on.
mother's does to me.
I gotta get going, go.
You know what, Flora? This is a good
A
time to
weird.
maybe stop the recording. It wasn't exactly an interview, but it was a good
No.
conversation with Flora. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think like maybe I can go to my buddy's house on a Tuesday
There you go. Right on.
because that'd be easier if I would go over there and do it because then I
In
don't have all the
theory, one of
interrupts.
these
I'm not. I
days
won't
I
be.
could drive up there. We'd have to plan it a little bit better. I got my puppy that I can't really leave alone and stuff, so I'd have to take him with me. But in theory, I've been wanting to actually take this show on the road and literally do one-on-one discussions, sessions, et cetera, et cetera. So, no pressure
Yeah.
now because I'm definitely not ready for it in the next week or something. But
Yeah, we can do something like
longer
that.
term, I'm definitely interested in if you want to meet in Olympia or something. We can go have a session in the fucking forest for all I care, or at your house or at your buddy's house, whatever the fuck. It would be kind of
Yeah,
interesting. I
that
think it'd be
or
fun.
Mom's house.
yeah, we'll
I
figure that
mean,
out.
that's a given, but we're probably not going to record that one, at least for public consumption.
What's he talking about? His mama?
He is once again.
Oh.
Go for it, Flora.
Oh, I'm just saying I gotta get going, but
Right
'cause
on.
it's like the
Good to
middle
see
of
you,
the
buddy.
work day. We're in the middle of the
Yeah,
work
man.
day, but yeah, we'll definitely plan something like that. I also I want to explore Portland a little bit. I guess Powell's Books is not quite the same as it used to be.
Oh, it's still pretty magnificent. Especially the Palace City of Books is pretty fucking great.
I'm talking about the big one downtown, like
Hmm.
that big.
Yep, City
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Books. It's a whole block of books, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And then like I used to like getting tacos at some fucking taco place. I know it's a chain. What the hell was that place called? It was right by it.
Oh, that
Um,
place is long gone. It went through a couple different cycles of pizza places and whatever. I know what you're
oh,
talking
is
about.
it?
It's a great. I think I know what you're talking about, so I
There was
hope
a
I'm not
taco place
disappointing
that
you.
used to be there,
On that
but
corner, on that
yeah,
gridiron building, yeah, it's not that anymore.
no, it's not there no more.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I
But
mean,
there are
it's
still
been
great
like
tacos at the food carts and stuff
well,
downtown.
it's
There's
been like
Portland
fucking
has excellent food,
been like
honestly. Yeah.
20 years since I really like was
Do
downtown
you
Portland.
have
Yeah.
Taco Tico?
I don't
Anyway,
know.
go ahead.
Anyway, we'll figure something out. I want to visit down there and visit up here.
Yeah,
We'll
man.
figure something
Cheers,
out.
dude.
It's all good. And
That's it. We'll flip a coin.
yeah, I don't know. I need to go down there and see some shit.
Miranda Family Farms is saying, come to the Boston Freedom Rally September 19th, 20th this year, Fumi. That would actually be fun. Good idea, maybe both of us. Maybe we could even Smash was saying we could share a booth. I don't know the
So
specifics of that. In theory, that
what
is a cool
exactly
thing.
is that? Is that like a hemp fest?
It's like the Hemp Fest, but the fucking Boston version of it.
And is there like a cost to be there or what is there?
But I think it's reasonable. I don't think they overcharge. Kind of like Hemp Fest. Like it's hundreds of dollars as opposed to thousands of dollars.
And they've had it for a lot of years.
Yeah, and
Like
like
it's
100,000 people come. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Then I could put faces to a bunch of these like East
Yeah.
Coast people that we've always
100%.
been talking
Yeah.
to.
Because a lot of
So
people go to that show for good reason,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
but I would
well, I mean,
definitely have
both
to.
of
I would
the
definitely have to plan
Hempfest
that.
and, and the Boston, the people that go, they don't have to pay at all, right? It's like that's
Yeah, I
why
think it's free to get
100,000
in,
people,
just like Hempfest. Yeah.
right?
That's why so many
Yeah,
people
well,
come.
that's what we were saying earlier about some of these events that charge like $100 just to go in. That,
Oh, for all
okay,
ages.
well,
Hmm.
All ages. What?
People could bring their kids.
That's yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I
I don't
guess it's
agree about that.
debatable. It's debatable because I don't think a huge amount of people are smoking chiefing super hard at that show around kids. I guess because there's kids there. I think people do smoke there. I don't know. You guys can
It'd be
let us
more of
know.
the accumulation of a bunch of people that are right.
let me just say this. I went to a lot of NASCAR races, sometimes even camped out for days. It was the drunkest thing you'd ever
Not
experience.
justifying that
Yeah,
either.
And
yeah, right.
there was
And
nothing
that's
but
fair too,
kids
Flora.
there, right? So like I remember thinking, God, if there's a gateway to like this kind of behavior, but that crowd,
No, actually, Flora
like,
has a
oh,
good point. The weed community has always kind of considered themselves better in one way or another. So, like, maybe we should consider ourselves better. So, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do super irresponsible stuff. No, I understand Flora's point. I understand his point.
But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah,
Peace
man.
out.
Cheers,
All
Flora.
right, all right, bye.
Boys and girls, I think we'll start to step out of the door here as well. Who wants to go first? Hardcore, you've got the Black Star of Death or whatever it is. All right, later.
all
Go for it,
right,
bud.
and have a good rest of your week and grow and smoke and enjoy life.
Yeah, man. Cheers, buddy. Oh, Penny Pebbler says the dogs are allowed. That's cool. I don't know how I would fly across the country with my dog reasonably, but anyway, that would be a cool idea. I guess I could drive across the country, but it takes like a fucking week to drive across. Do you guys have any idea how large this continent is? Oh, it's absolutely
That
idiotic.
California is so big.
California is 800 miles long, I want to say. Yeah,
Um,
it's kind of ridiculous. People don't realize how big California is actually. The entire West Coast. Actually, this is a funny distinction because we were looking at it, the map. I don't know, maybe a couple 3 months ago or something. I think was smashed, and the East Coast is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 12 states or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing one or something. Maybe Rhode Island. I think 13. Anyway, it's a bunch of fucking states. The West Coast, it's three states: Washington, Oregon, California. That's it. So yeah, a lot more spread out. Kind of like your mama. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for stopping by. Stone Root, always a pleasure, buddy. Good to see you. Don't be a stranger, my friend. Hope to see you again soon. J5, hey kid, do you ever do pot? Don't listen to J5, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking somebody reported my show yesterday. We already got age restricted, so a hearty middle finger to that person. Who else in here? Miranda Family Farms, good to see you. Thanks for the tips, by the way, on the Freedom Rally. Always a pleasure as well to see Miranda Family Farms. Great grower, actually, ladies and gentlemen. Super cool plants on Instagram. I think we need to speak to him one of these days. Organic grower. I don't know why I had thought of that before, honestly. He would be a great guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Small Tubes, Justin Bean, good to see you. Alaska too, but I guess what they call it, we always forget Alaska, right? Because, it doesn't count. No, I'm talking about, we call it the contiguous or whatever. It's such an arbitrary thing, right? But it's just a way to fucking, group people together or something. I don't know, in a foolish way. But I guess on the East Coast they're cheating because they have no accessory states basically, unless you count the dingle dongle of Florida, obviously. But obviously Alaska is interfered with by Canada, who, of course, our illustrious orange menace of a president thinks is going to be a state, but it's, let's say, would you say the chance is a rat's asshole in hell or a bat's asshole in hell that Canada becomes the 51st state? Also, by the way, how would the entire state of Canada be one state? Wouldn't it be like, how many provinces do you guys have? Like eight, nine?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even more. I don't remember because you have some like island provinces and stuff. So you have multiple provinces. Some of them are native controlled and stuff. Like there is a 0% chance that oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's all one state. And it's like 30 million, no, 40 million people. So it would be actually the most populous state in the country because California currently is the most populous state at 35 or 38 million, I want to say. So anyway, Canada is basically the same thing as California.
And I don't know
This
if
is,
you
I don't know. Does no one realize this guy has dementia? I don't know. I don't understand. Like, how are we taking this seriously? No, I'm serious. I'm asking you a serious question, but it's like we're obviously joking with each other because this is fucking. There's not a chat.
I know.
There's not a monkey's chance in fucking on the moon, right? Like, come on. Yeah,
So
seriously.
I don't know if you've heard yet, but Alberta actually wants to separate from Canada.
I've heard that, and unfortunately, this kind of nonsense encourages that kind of nonsense. Quebec, I was going to say Montreal, but Quebec has been trying to
That's
separate
okay.
for a long time. Pardon?
They can separate. I don't mind
You
that.
don't like them anymore?
That means that just no. That just means Newfoundland's closer to us.
Uh,
Huh.
because they fall off into the ocean and go to France. Yeah, I like that logic. Yeah. I mean, they'd have better crepes that way, probably, right? Well, that's not true. I think they say that the crepes and food in Quebec are pretty good. Anyway, yeah, no, this motherfucker has been talking about, oh yeah, Canada's gonna be our state up here. Jeff Papaya says we have 7 states in the size of the America. I didn't quite understand that, Jeff. But they have gigantic fucking states in Australia as well, yeah, too. Yeah, what's next? He's gonna say that Australia has to be the 52nd state? Fucking
I think they aren't they. Don't they do it by territories?
yeah, I think they call them territories. The Australian government territory, the AGT, that's the one where they're officially weed legal. But yeah, I don't remember all the different territory. The Western Territory is like fucking enormous. Yeah. And there's almost no one in the center of Australia. It's all by the coasts. There's water there.
Yeah,
Nicer, right?
crazy.
No, I had a friend years ago, who was a French dude, and he lived, actually a French Vietnamese dude, and he lived had an interesting fucking life, to be honest. His parents had escaped Vietnam after the war and whatever. Anyway, grew up in France and went as an aid worker or something for with Aboriginals. I can't remember exactly what he worked on, but he lived right next to the Big Red Rock. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but everyone knows what I'm talking about. That's from there. The Big fucking Red Rock. I can't remember the name of it. They'll say right now, I'm sure. It's this gigantic red promontory in the middle of basically a desert, essentially, and it's got a spiritual significance for the Aboriginal who've been there for like 50,000 years. Anyway, it gets to be legitimately like 130 degrees there during the daytime, and then it falls to like 50 degrees at night. So it's like almost 100-degree swing. So you're wearing a fucking parka at night and you're just literally dying in the daytime. Like he said, it was absolute fucking hell. All right,
Hardcore.
nobody's saying hardcore saying I peed on your mom's leg. She's my territory. He's really serious about it. He says, take your millimeters and your queen and fuck right off then, eh? And then also, I banged your mom.
Yeah. Typical
All
hardcore.
right, nobody's answering. They're probably going to answer as soon as they hit the end button, but I think we're going to bounce here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll learn about Ayers Rock. Thank you, Pip Jam MBF. That's a better name for it than the big red fucking rock in the middle of Australia. In fairness, it probably has an Aboriginal name that we don't know. But anyway, I'm sure they know it, and we just didn't look it up. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll learn all about Australia on some other show. No, hardcore, that's the little dingleberry that you have to deal with. You should go see a doctor about that. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us. Much appreciated for just hanging out and kind of actually being normal. We had no weirdo trolls. We had no people kind of mouthing off and doing weird shit. We're not going to tolerate that anymore. I've been saying, oh, pretty much zero tolerance. Yeah, I would say a -1 tolerance. Like I will actively fuck with you if you do any shit on my channel anymore. I don't really care who you are. So it's very pleasant that everybody was pleasant and nice and just was here for a nice, good time. Ladies and gentlemen, please carry on with that. Not only on this show, but hopefully in other places as well. I think that's a good way to live. But whatever, if the only place that you're at peace with the world is here on this show, at least hopefully that brings peace to your world. That's unexpectedly wise there. What am I, a fucking Zen? I should start selling Zen t-shirts or something, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that ironic? Selling Zen t-shirts is surprisingly un-Zen-like. Anyway, Jack Beanstalk, good to see you, buddy. What was I going to say? Oh, do visit fumidora.com. I didn't mention my website even once on this entire show. I will be releasing some new lines in the very near future. I keep saying that, but I'm going to finally do it. What am I, Italian? Yes, spaghetti. No, I'm being racist now. Ladies and gentlemen, gonna release some new lines here shortly, hopefully. But otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, my go-to recommendation really is Sour Morgana. I'm a big fan. I think you'll be a big fan, and you're going to hear a lot more from her in the future. I'm going to be working on that whole line a lot more. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to use the ever-present viewer discount code of BRAINS. D, sometimes people like to use voice to text. How would one pronounce that properly?
Brains.
Nice. With a Z. Make sure that your
The
voice to text robot Gemini or whoever the fuck it is understands that it's a Z. You'll get yourself 10% off, ladies and gentlemen, and my thanks. Always my thanks, actually. I usually include a card that says, well, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we'll leave it at that. Don't forget also you can always buy a t-shirt and a sweatshirt like a D. Oh, well, I guess he doesn't have it right now, but High Noon Safety Meeting. We do have them available. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I'm sure you get the message. Until we meet again, D, by the way, are you doing a takeover this Saturday? What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
Right on.
Saturday, same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat channel. You heard it, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it is this channel. This is Fumidoro.com, or I'm sorry, this is Fumidoro. If you were not aware, ladies and gentlemen, I do have a bigger channel because actually we have gotten a few new subscribers and new viewers finally. So thank you very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, my far bigger channel, about 10 times as big basically, is, although who's measuring, right, is Fumidor and the Flavors. On that channel lately, we've only really been broadcasting basically once a week, essentially, for a long time now. I hope to maybe do some more shows there, maybe do some of these shows over there as well. But in the meantime, we're going to be doing interviews over there pretty much every week, hopefully. So this last week, I think, was a great chat with Bingus. I don't know, you seem to like it, D. I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you think it was a good chat? I think we learned a lot from him. It was fun to talk about
Yes.
plant intelligence. I'm always a nerd for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was really good. I liked hanging out with Bingus. And actually, next week's going to be a really good interview too, Tuesday.
All that's green. Yeah. But speaking, we were talking about native Aboriginals. Well, we'll be talking about, I didn't know that she was a native, what do you call it? I honestly don't know what do you call it. First
Really?
Peoples, or what do you guys call them in
Native
Canada?
Americans.
Native Americans. Oh, all right. Same thing we call them
Even though
basically.
I guess maybe it should be really considered Native Canadian. I don't know.
Who calls them First Peoples, though? Somebody calls them First Peoples.
First Nation.
First Nations. Is that what they call them in Canada or
I
no?
guess that's what it is.
Well,
I
you know
always,
what? We'll fucking learn about that because apparently we're dumb as three
yeah.
rocks. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll figure it out. The mind is willing, the body is just spongy and bruised or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Ladies and gentlemen, always a pleasure to see you guys. Hardcore, good to see you as well. Pip Jam, of course, always a pleasure. One of the main moderators on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. A man who wields his power very delicately. You wouldn't even have known that he has the power to ban all of you. Actually, there's only a couple of the moderators that have power to ban and unban and all that kind of stuff because most of the moderators just have the power to time out, stuff like that. So, wouldn't you know it? Pip Jam MBF never abuses his power, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that's worth acknowledging right there. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it something that you have to kind of acknowledge that kind of stuff in these live? I guess you don't have to acknowledge anything really, but that's part of the problem of the world. You'd be surprised how little power can go to someone's head. My whole life, I've called it this is my personal, what would you call it? Dictum, I guess. I call it the prune shears rule. Back in college, I worked in the landscaping crew for a couple of months in the summer, and it was mostly a lovely job because we got to work outside and stuff. It was quite pleasant. Got to work with plants and so on. And actually, I learned a lot. I learned how to drive. Well, I used to know how to drive a tractor, but I really learned how to drive a tractor, learned how to back up a trailer, all this kind of weird shit, right? Irrigation and all this stuff. Although I've forgotten a lot of the irrigation stuff, which would be more handy at my place now. Anyway, learned all these bizarre skills, right? That in some of which are completely useless. But one day, I was assigned with one of my colleagues to go work on the president of the college's mansion, basically. The president lives on campus and they got their own mansion, like the president of the United States, kind of like the White House, right? And we were supposed to go around, trim the rose bushes and stuff, and just do kind of general maintenance. And they gave us pruning shears like the regular full-time employees had. All the full-time employees had their own, mostly the, what's that Swiss company? Felder, Felco. Felco. I think it's called Felco. Anyway, super nice Swiss freaking pruning shears. All the fancy gardeners always have to have them. No, seriously, like they look down on you if you don't have them apparently. Anyway, so they all have them with a fucking leather pouch or whatever, but none of the, summer employees basically had these things because they're like, $60 or $70. None of us buy those things when we're in fucking college, right? But of course, to prune rose bushes, you need these goddamn pruning shears. So they gave us these two pruning shears. Immediately, my colleague, who's by the way a basic bitch summer employee, starts to order our friends around. And the whole day, she starts to try to order me around. Then when we go back to lunch, she starts to try to order the other people around like she's a supervisor. And from that day forward, I've seen people basically, if you give them the tiniest little bit of power, some people, it will go completely to their head. They will subjugate the people around them. It's just a fascinating trait of humanity. We are just the branch of the apes, and people forget we're not related. We don't descend from chimpanzees, but both of us descend from common ancestors. And so, if you look at the chimpanzees and how they fucking rip each other's scalps off for no reason and throw shit at each other and whatever else. I saw a video on Reddit. I didn't choose to see this, mind you. I was scrolling through. I don't know why Reddit showed me to this. A woman had a road rage incident. She got out of her car and explosively diarrheaed on the car behind her. And then was arrested, by the way. This was so instant karma. That was a human being. So tell me more about how we are not even closely related to chimpanzees. That is something that a chimpanzee would be proud to do. Because, of course, the chimpanzee wouldn't know how to drive the car, right? Yeah. The rest of it, they could totally do. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us. Indigenous, I mean, yeah, I suppose that's probably the correct word to use just in general if you don't know the right word for it. We'll have to ask her, actually, because I'm sure that there is probably that's not the preferred nomenclature, dude. We're going to learn about the preferred nomenclature, dude. Ladies and gerbils, thanks very much for joining us. I've said that probably 50 times, but thank you anyway. Marshall, good to see you, buddy. Who else have I missed? Jack Beanstalk. Not sure if I said hello to you earlier. Silent Truth as well. Who else have I missed? I always miss somebody in here. Penny, got you there. Western Main Mang. Always miss somebody. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, until we meet again, consider yourself shouted out because hopefully I'll shout you out next time. Be kind, be decent, be gentle, don't be fucking pricks, dicks, or lunatics. Ladies and gerbils, don't forget to puff something wonderful, my friends. And thanks, by the way, D, for helping out in the background there. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for hanging. Join D this weekend, this Saturday, for the safety meeting at 7 p.m. Oftentimes going well into the night. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of our let the hair down, hang out show, even if I am kind of tightening up the rules on these Tuesday and Wednesday shows and make it. This one was a little bit like the old days, but I am going to try to make it more of a very tight kind of invite only interview show, stuff like that. But, whatever. We'll make that happen over time. The Saturday show, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still perfectly happy with people kind of just goofing off, relaxing, having a good vibe. I am insistent, though. Excuse me. Look, no bullshit, no nonsense, no fucking weird drama. We've had a couple people who arguably maybe shouldn't come on the show anymore, to be perfectly honest, because they seem to cause drama. I think a couple people in chat know of whom I speak. I'm not trying to single anybody out, but if somebody is not capable of coming on in a normal way and then not causing drama because of it, perhaps this is not the place for them to come on. So we're going to definitely be a lot more selective. Even with that Saturday show, I'm definitely going to empower D and whoever's in charge to potentially give anyone the boot who is acting a little bit fucking sloppy. You know what I mean? I've said many times that, you should visualize a cannabis pub, cannabis cafe. Well, you know what? People get kicked out all the fucking time. You get 86 if you act like a fucking asshole. Sometimes it's permanent. You know what I mean? So who knows if those bans will be permanent because some of these behaviors are definitely able to be cleaned up. So maybe it's just a temporary fucking 86. Who knows? We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe it's self-enforcing or something. We'll figure it out. But I'm definitely not going to be pretty much at all tolerant of any fucking nonsense on my show. I don't give a shit. I can't emphasize this enough. I don't give a shit. I wouldn't shit on in some cases, but I don't give a shit, I guess is a more polite way to say it, about all the YouTube drama that you guys talk about sometimes. I don't care or want to know. I've met some of those people. They are not super compelling people. I'll just leave it at that. So I'm not going to be judged by people like that. You know what I mean? And what's the old expression? They don't pay my bills. They don't pay my rent. They don't put food on my table. Who the fuck do I care about them, right? Or what the fuck do I care about them? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play by those rules in the future. So I would even honestly prefer not to hear about any of that shit anymore, honestly, because those people are fucking ghosts to me. So ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to be having fun in the future and enjoying ourselves and hopefully learning about cannabis. So with that said, adios. Thanks for hanging, my friends. Cheers. Big ears.